And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Gears Pro League Split 2 day number 6. I'm Taylor Reflections Double, joined by Guy Blaze. One series down, and we're hopping into a hot and ready second series, all Latin America. It's going to be Rebel versus Pittsburgh Knights. This is going to be an electrifying one.
Yeah, it is going to be an electrifying one, okay? When it comes down to the Pittsburgh Knights, you know, from our first few weeks kicking off this league, they're the best team in the league, all right?
Right.
The way that they're looking, having Fearzly on a squad, this revamped team, I like what I see a lot out of them. But also on the flip end, Rebel, they got a hot pickup as well in the offseason, and they've been looking good. They got something to prove up in this matchup against PK. I want to say after taking in some L's to him in the E-Days.
Yeah, taking some, well, Pittsburgh Knights, let's be honest, has been beating just about everybody, aside from United, who actually won the last week of E-Days. But regardless, though, PK has been looking quite incredible, which you talked about some members, or at least every roster basically in Pro League made a roster change. Pittsburgh Knights, they are no surprise. They made a roster change too, but I think it benefited them greatly. And speaking of which, Pittsburgh Knights, let's talk about that roster because you supported them, the only guy to support them on the talent team with Fearzly. You believed in them in their matchup, I believe, against Pioneers, and well, they ended up getting the victory. Raver, Dezo, Monkyz, and Fearzly. These guys have been on fire.
Yeah, no, they truly have been, man. And for me, it was like, how can you not love this team? You know how much gas that gave Fearzly last season?
A ton.
Did we not see them get second place in the last major with the old Pittsburgh Knights team?
Yep.
Like, it was just a match made in heaven for these guys to come together, and they just keep getting better week in and week out. So, you know, I'm a big fan of our Latin American teams this season, and I think we say this every season, Taylor, but like this is really like the best chance for them to like get a chip.
We do see it literally every season. Literally every season.
We're like, this is Latin America's best chance to win a major.
But I agree.
It. And I do mean it this season as well.
I mean it this season. You know, honestly,
like
you're right, though. Pittsburgh Knights is a team that consistently was getting second place. That was until Fire and Ice, and then ultimately Noble ended up taking over as the second best team in Gears Esports, obviously behind that of whether it be United or behind that of Vanquish or ultimately KCP. But this is, in my opinion, and your opinion, the best chance that Latin America has because how evenly based the top of the leaderboard truly are.
Yeah.
But there's only one Latin American team who's going to be able to be at the top, right? Whether they finish second to NA, only one can be the best Latin American team. Whether it's going to be Rebel or PK, we'll find out after this series. Speaking of which, Rebel did make that roster change, and let's take a look at who that was. Well, Xploidz joins into the mix, and me and Colin were talking, Blaze, about that whole entire Noble roster. When they broke up and split, every single member who went to different rosters, Dyslexic to United, Xploidz to Rebel, Toady, obviously, who was on Purified, now Hive, Fearzly, obviously, being on the roster of Pittsburgh Knights. Like, literally, all of those members have elevated and made those rosters even more special.
They have, man, and you know it's made the competition in our league a bit tougher as well. You know, it's unfortunate that they couldn't get it done together. You know what I'm saying? You know, just unfortunate they couldn't get it done together. But you know, at the end of the day, you know, they make the rest of the squads good, and you know, we're here for it because I like the new look Rebel and PK. I truly do.
Yeah, I do as well. You know, one of the talking points I had about Xploidz was his ability to pop off when he needed to. I just needed the rest of the Rebel roster to capitalize, especially off his power weapon plays. But one new member that we have to hone in on, at least for this matchup, it's going to be Fearzly. And I think rightly so. You believed in him. You hyped him up in the last split. You're hyping him up here in this split. But our player to watch this time around, obviously, other than Fearzly, has to be Raver, because Raver's just as equally as incredible and impressive. Now, again, bringing in the new stats. Now, first and foremost, execution KDA 5.12, number one in the league, 5th place when it comes to first bloods, 19% percentage of the time with his roster getting that first blood, and obviously execution kill participation 31%. That is incredible because who other is on the roster who's most likely carrying the torch as well when it comes to slaying? Monkyz, but Raver is equally as good, if not better.
Exactly right. And you know, also too, for that execution KDA to be as high as it is, it just shows that he has a great team around him because they're not losing a lot of rounds. Okay, in the rounds in which they win, he is alive. Okay, he is getting those first bloods. He is the tip of the spear. So that showcases in that KDA, and you love to see it. So,
Yeah.
Raver, he makes this PK squad the most fearsome team on every round-based game mode. Execution, escalation. You're gonna see those at least 3 times in every series, and you got to be ready to go up against him and fight. And he got a quick left.
Yeah, he's incredible, man. Versatile player, slaying out. And like I said, he's got Monkyz on the roster, yet Raver seems to be one of the highest statistical players, if not higher than Monkyz, at least even with them. So PK, it comes to show you why they've been looking so scary, because each member on the roster is just outstanding, and then Fearzly being the new guy. PK needed a roster change. For the longest time, they were stagnant. When they made the roster change with Chaos, they were beautiful. Not in Pro League, they looked awful, they looked terrible, but major time, they got second place, and then they make a roster change, which takes a lot of, like I said, cojones, brother, because look, you got second place in the major and you still want to make a change. Well, they do, and now they look even better than they did major time, and they're looking to go for the championship. Let's take a look at our 5 maps we're going to be rolling with Blaze, and we're going to see something special. Vasgar obviously being there, nothing special in that regard, but Ritual Control. Pittsburgh Knights love this map, and for good reason. They're incredible on it.
Yeah, they are incredible on it. We see it in pretty much every series. We've seen them almost, I want to say every series. We've cast them over the last few weeks. So I think that's good for them. I also favor them on that Vasgar escalation as well. But Rebel, oh man, I favor Rebel on maps 4 and 5. I truly do. Okay, and that Speyer control and that execution canals, I think that Rebel has more marksmen on their team, and they'll be able to take over that Canals execution. And then on the flipping, that Speyer control, I'm liking their respawn there. But if they can pick up one of these first 3 maps, it's gonna at least set them up to get to map 4, and that's what they need to do if Rebel wants to come out on top of this series.
Yeah, Speyer is one that Rebels always preferred. They've always been kind of a front runner on that map, changing the pacing and the way that it's played. Their aggressive play style mixes well with their ability to set up early on. And I think that's the big key takeaway. They aren't shy about rotating early or rotating when they need to, even if it's not early, right? They always find a way to be the first ones on the hill, which gives them such an advantage on Speyer with how it's played. It's one of the most punishing maps that we have in the rotation, and it continues to be. Ritual can be just as punishing, but Pittsburgh Knights, I think I got to give them the edge there. This is going to be an interesting series in a lot of different ways, especially if we go to map 5. Speaking of which, let's talk about our predictions, Blaze, because, again, I have no idea who you're going to be going with. I led the first time. You want to lead this time?
Yeah, I can lead this time, all right? When it comes down to these 2 teams, they are fighting for the hearts of all the Latin American fans, and not even just all the Latin fans, all Gears fans in general, because they're 2 of our top dogs when it comes down to the league.
Yep.
Now, but the squad who I think is going to come out on top of this one is going to be the Pittsburgh Knights, and I feel like it's going to take a lot to beat them, right? And Rebel has that, but what Rebel needs to do if they want to take them down, they're going to have to take down Raver early, okay?
Yes.
Win these fights and set the pace of the match. They're going to have to play quick, but can they do that? They can, but I just think PK is going to be ready for them today.
Yeah, I agree with that sentiment. Pittsburgh Knights for you. For me, I'm going with Pittsburgh Knights as well. I think they're the more well-rounded team. Now, my question is, they had an explosive start. They looked incredible. They still do. But then they ran into a brick wall. That was the United. And Powers was outslaying and just shutting Pittsburgh Knights down to the point where I watched them play on Ritual, one of their best maps, as we were highlighting, going into map number 1. And they had no business losing this map on E-Days, but they ended up losing it. I believe it was 300 to 299, 300 to 298. Okay. They were up, Blaze, by 60 points, and they were at 298 for, I kid you not, at least a solid minute to 2 minutes. But Powers walked right in, slayed out PK, and E United ended up winning, where, in my opinion, they had no right doing so. And from the rest of the series on, it was all she wrote, brother. The execution wasn't that close relatively. It was 6-4, and then the escalation Vasgar was 5-1. So that loss,
that's
in my opinion,
demoralizing.
It could be demoralizing. And I'm curious if Pittsburgh Knights will snap back. I'm sure they will. This is Pro League after all. Chat, who are you going with, PK or Rebel? Let us know, man. PK seems to be the favorite. They've been the favorite, and I think they won the hearts again. And yes, they did win the hearts again. PK seems to be right now not only the best Latin American team, but the favorite Latin American team competing in Gears Pro League.
Yeah, they are, and rightfully so, especially how they kicked off the first 3 weeks of the league already. Hey,
Undefeated.
Undefeated. They are exactly where they're supposed to be in the hearts of the fans, and we'll see if anyone else can take a few fans back over to their side as we get closer towards the major in a few weeks. But no surprise there.
Yeah, no surprise there. Pittsburgh Knights obviously putting Rebel as not necessarily the fan favorite and not necessarily our favorites either, but they're still a threat that you have to take seriously. So it's up to Rebel now to prove everybody wrong. And I think they absolutely can do so. After all, this is a personal one. You even going way back, Identivez, right? Anytime he plays against Pittsburgh Knights, I think we see a little bit more come out of him because of how long he played with the guys on PK, right? And how long he was representing that roster. So again, this roster not only is personal because it's Latin America versus Latin America, but also personal because a lot of these guys have competed against each other and with each other in the past, and they always want to beat each other. Make no mistake about it.
Always want to beat each other, all right? and that's what it's all about. When it comes down to the competition, no one wants to go in these matches and take an L, all right? And then when you actually got some history with some players on the other side, it brings the best out of you, all right?
It does.
I think we're going to see the best out of Rebel tonight. We'll see if, Identivez, Xploidz, and the rest of the squad, if they're going to be ready to come out here and fight, if Demon's going to be ready to get this done, as well as Crack. I think they're going to come out here and they're going to play their best, but we'll see if their best is going to be enough.
I was looking through, so they've won it. Pittsburgh Knights beat Rise, they beat United, they beat Fury 1, they beat Discipline, looking really heavily though on that Rise and United. Remember when they did beat Rise, that was incredible because Rise had just beat the night before the Pioneers in an incredibly dominating way. So for Pittsburgh Knights then to turn around and beat Rise in a dominating way, truly, at least for me, kind of raised my eyebrows. I was like, wow, there's something serious going on here. But one thing about Pittsburgh Knights, at least from their old roster that we have to talk about is consistency, and I think the same thing for Rebel as well. Will they have the stamina and consistency throughout all of Pro League, throughout all of Split 2 and the Major? So obviously we won't know until we get to that point, but if we do see Pittsburgh Knights perform well in this series and win and stay undefeated, that consistency talk is going to be favorable for PK, but this is a series that they need to win.
A series in which they need to come out on top of. Both these squads are looking to do some damage to the power rankings, and they know how important this one is, getting a good look at their opponent under a pressure situation in front of the eyes of the Gears of War fans and over the voices of me and you, Taylor. Here we go. It's our second series of the day, Pittsburgh Knights versus Rebel. Let's get it started.
All right, let's get it started, baby. This is going to be a fun one. It really is. That first series was good in its own way. This one's going to be different. Hey, look, either there's an issue or Demon is just getting overzealous. And I think there is an issue because there's no way we see 2 team kills off the start. Again, hey, it wouldn't be Gears Pro League. We didn't have a couple of resets. We had one in Series 1, and it looks like we might have one here in Series 2. A bit of a stalemate, but at least it's a stalemate, not a full reset, plays.
Exactly.
So we should be right back into it.
Yeah, we should be right back into it. But, luckily that was the least of our issues. And they're going to get right back into it. I was just assuming that maybe a player's controller disconnected and they said, hurry up, kill somebody. We need a reset. Almost died there. It's a lot of things that could have happened. Pizza Man could have been at the door or something,
Hey, I would love some pizza. So look, if these pros want it, they can get it. I'm okay with waiting. You got to eat. You just got to simply eat. Bit of a stalemate, though, off the rip here. 0-0. Nobody able to gain the edge other than Xploidz getting the torque bow, and that is going to be huge for defending against PK. Continues to push up, but Xploidz forced back and down. Torque bow, I believe, not backpack, if I'm not mistaken. It should still be on the ground, giving Pittsburgh Knights an opportunity to recover. They already got the first points, and Monkyz on this flank. Now, he's going to be a nuisance. We talked about powers on the United on this map consistently flanking, and Colin loves to bring that up, but Monkyz, he's going to be the same way here on Ritual.
Yeah, he most definitely is. And, with Monkyz having Fearzly on squad, who kind of played a similar role to, Monkyz' position last season, it allows Monkyz to roam a bit more, play on the island and make some big plays for the team. Now, in this first hill, we do see PK collecting on at least 30 points of this hill time. Fearzly is going to move in and contest this hill He does have some help. They don't want to give up all the time. Now, Identivez will be in position for Rebel to have that new respawn for the squad, just in case they do lose some of these fights. Now, they will win majority of them as they take down Raver. We will start to see Rebel collecting the rest of the scrap time. They're going to get the spawn up top. And now they just got to get set up as you're going to start to see PK rushing to get towards that back spawn.
Rushing indeed. Identivez is the guy that I think might make some plays. He's going to be challenged by Monkyz. Rebel trying to hold on tight, and they are doing so with Monkyz falling. That's a second down and out, and now he's going to be finished off completely. Meanwhile, Rebel continues to hold on. Pittsburgh Knights forces are drawing thin, and there's 3 down and out. Dezo can't really make a move by himself, but he's going to have to fight anyways because Rebel, well, they are on the hunt, and they're going to take him down regardless. Rebel are, at least I like that they are pushing out, taking the fight to PK. They don't want any stragglers to be left behind. And the reason why is because, well, that straggler can turn into now a 4 frontal push for obviously the opposite team, and they don't want to allow that to happen. So Pittsburgh Knights round 2 for the retake, but they are spread out, and so is Rebel, so they're going to meet them head on.
Now, Fearzly with 4 bows left. As active in the chamber, just misses Identivez. He jukes him out with a stutter step in. Identivez keeping the pressure on Fearzly. Will be able to get the kill, turn around and regroup with a squad, knowing that this is valuable time as Fearzly is going to have to time himself out. Identivez gets into the fight. 3v2 situation, Taylor, as they're going to be able to take down Dezonide and collect on the 20 points that's left in his hill. Now Monkyz rushing towards the opposite end of the map to get the spawn for his team. He will have 3 squad mates with him, and they can push and take towards these back spawns and start the fight there.
You know, the difference now from this Pittsburgh Knights to what I've seen in the past when they play on Ritual, and something that we would consistently compliment them on, is their ability on Ritual to take an early and explosive lead. And they would do that consistently, even against E United on E-Days recently, even though they end up losing. And I was talking about so close 298. They still had a big lead, but now Rebel has kind of taken that little bit of an advantage away, which gives me a little bit of concern. I can't lie, Blaze. Pittsburgh Knights might be slowing down, and Rebel, they're heating up quite well, and they're taking advantage of maybe that mentality that PK is starting to wane because they've suffered some losses as of recently. And Rebel is now going to be at 100-22, where Pittsburgh Knights still can't get anything going. They're going for their second push on this hill alone.
Yeah, PK can't get anything going, Taylor. Rebel, they're going to be able to hold the line and get the first blood on Dezonide. Crack's going to back up. Still has plenty of health to work with, but not going to be too overzealous because he knows that the squad is getting points. He doesn't need to be the hero in that situation. As Dezonide about to get back into the fight, the flashes come out. Rebel in a defensive stance. Crack with a big double kill. Has a strong right. Identivez on the flank. Should be able to get this kill clean up on Fearzly. Boom. That's a fantastic hold from Rebel. They'll continue to rack up time.
It's a perfect hold. They now lead over 100 points over Pittsburgh Knights. They've got the second torque bow in play. They've rotated over towards New Hill. At least they're looking to do so, but you got to put a lot of value in Crack with that torque bow. Obviously keeping his eyes peeled and a head on a swivel. And Fearzly had a little bit of an advantage there against Xploidz, but Xploidz spots him in the nick of time and takes him down. Excellent job to hold down the lane that he was able to do so. We obviously see a bit of a battle for the next hill. Pittsburgh Knights seem to have at least a bit of a man advantage, pushing in 3v2, but Rebel still is inside the hill, and it could be evened up very shortly. Xploidz, speaking of which, does pick up 1, and now it's going to be back to a 3v2. Pittsburgh Knights do have the hill currently, but Rebel on the outside looking in, ready to push.
Yeah, Rebel, they haven't been able to be a full 4-man unit just yet because they initially fought for the spawns on the other end of the map so they can be in position for next hill as well. They lost that battle and they kind of lost the 2v4 fight as they were waiting for their teammates to respawn. But now they are a full 4-man unit and starting to push in through this smoke. Xploidz is going to get taken out. Monkyz doing a good job supporting his teammate at the top stairs. They move in, take down Identivez. Demon and Crack both find kills. Demon resets, backs up with Xploidz, and they're going to have to push in and take this 2v2 fight now. They can't waste much time.
going to waste much time. They're not going to waste time. Dezo, excellent job taking on Xploidz. Doubles back to Identivez. He'll get the finish in conjunction with Monkyz, and that's going to be a solid team wipe nearly anyways. Crack, though, hiding in the shadows, and Pittsburgh Knights maybe get a little PSD from that play. That was the play, or at least the spot, the identical spot that Powers was able to derail the entire game for Pittsburgh Knights on E-Days and beat them 302-98, and Crack just about doing the same here. Obviously, we're not at the end just yet, but that's something PK's got to keep their eyes peeled for as we move forward. Rebel in charge of the next hill. Pittsburgh Knights looking to go for a break. It's not going to be easy, especially with PK spread out as they currently are. Oh no, and Fearzly's gone. We might have a bit of a stalemate for a little bit.
Oh man, a whole block went out.
That's what I just saw, actually. Okay. Speaking of which, my room right now that I'm in needs repainted. Maybe that's, you know, I get some free labor out of it, and then we'll get a free content out of it, okay? We're back into the action. Rebel, Pittsburgh Knights. Rebel needs 159. Pittsburgh Knights needs 224. Keep your eye out for the left-hand screen. It's everything you need to know. Now, we talked about after the reset, teams tend to make adjustments. Well, Pittsburgh Knights may not get the early points, but they do get the torque bow.
Yeah, and with the power weapon, that can get them position in which they need. And then you see them use that bow to flush out Demon. That gets them the kill, and now they have this setup. Rebel will start rotating a few players from the spawn side of the map, and they do plan on contesting this hill, but they are no strangers to, you know, they are fully understanding that they have a lead from that reset. So they're going to take their time on the setup and now push into the fight. This forced PK towards that opposite end of the map, but Demon winning some big 1v1s there towards the middle. Dezo knows that he's going to have to back up soon. This bow is important. Top of the cover, does a lot of splash damage, but he doesn't hit the first spread. It doesn't give him the confidence to stay in that fight. He gets 2v1, but Monkyz last left, and from afar, he'll play his life, but I think he knows he may have a 1v1 in this hill to contest the scrap time.
But I do like that Pittsburgh Knights, a big adjustment from before the reset to now is they do rotate a little bit earlier on to establish themselves within the hill. Now, it doesn't mean that they're going to find success. Fearzly needed to stay up, so it's a 3v3. We do see a couple of trades, though, underway, and Pittsburgh Knights might be the ones holding their ground, and I think they are going to be because Crack is in front of Monkyz, and he was the last one alive because Identivez, Xploidz, and Demons were all finished off. Great job, though, getting in conjunction with Monkyz and Raver, taking down Crack, staggering the deaths, and Pittsburgh Knights, good foothold on the current hill, and that was because they rotated a little bit earlier. The adjustments from before the reset to now are clearly apparent.
Yeah, they are very apparent. Now PK, they have this setup on board with Monkyz. Two players in front of him, has his teammate behind him, but Raver taking a lot of damage, and I think Rebel knows that. As he's backed up, they says, hey, put the pressure on Monkyz now. Let's control the fight. They do just that, but Raver moves up, starting to push his opponents back, creating some space for Monkyz to get his health back. But on the other end of the map, Crack gets first blood. Dezonide trades it out, and Crack will win that battle. Monkyz and Raver, they'll drop back to the spawn, Taylor, to try to keep some position and control over this side of the map while they wait for their teammates. They get a big down in which they can clean up. But did they buy the squad enough time as the bow's going to start rotating to the fight?
Into the fight. Look at the lead now that Pittsburgh Knights have managed to gain. Now, I'm not good at quick math, but I gotta think that it's relatively even at the moment between Rebel and PK, even though, obviously, we see Pittsburgh Knights need 224 points, but only 20 off the reset for Rebel. Torque out, Dezo wanting to close that gap, but it'll take his time, especially because Xploidz having that torque bow should pump the brakes a little bit. Great shot, though. Dezo's gone. That's gonna free up at least one player out of the way, putting Pittsburgh Knights in a straight-up 3v3.
Xploidz, as him and his squad are collecting some points. He has one bow left. The active almost about to go away, but he'll have room for another active soon. That flash is going to connect at the right time, stops him from reloading, and that creates the opportunity for PK to move in and get the kill. The bow don't connect, and that's 4 down. The Knights will be able to move in and start collecting on some time, Taylor. That's a great retake from them.
Great retake indeed, and Pittsburgh Knights well on their way to victory. They have closed it to just 100 points to win. All they need is just to hit that 24 mark, and they will be right there. Rebel obviously mounting up a push. Great shot from Dezo early on, and Raver on the flank, as you just mentioned, wisely so. The value he is getting is tremendous. Rebel being put into the absolute blender, and Pittsburgh Knights have officially retaken the lead.
So Nade's up in 30. Twerkbow's going to be up in 20. It's going to be a battle between Xploidz and Raver for this bow. Monkyz has a little bit of support from the back. He'll be able to help Raver get that down. But at the other end of the map, Dezonide wins a big 1v1 against Demon for the nades. So PK continuing to control the power weapons on the map. But Dezonide, he will fall. And so those nades won't necessarily go in control of PK. It's still 10 seconds for Rebel for PK to be able to rotate on over and stop those nades from getting picked up. If the bow can get in position, it may be a free kill for him, but he's now in position to be able to guard them. We know somebody's going to go for him. He's going to put that bow on the ground and get a second one revved up right away, but puts it on a wall.
It's one of the hardest hill Pittsburgh Knights have struggled with on Ritual. All hills they're relatively great on, but when it comes down to this hill, it seems to be the toughest for them to break and hold on to.
Yeah, another one.
Pittsburgh Knights going to send one onto the ground. Another hit marker. Hold up. Raver, though, looking to pop off. We talked about his stats, and for good reason. Excellent job holding his ground. 10 toes down. Xploidz. He can't make that push in good conscience. He's got to wait for Demon and the rest of the boys to respawn back up. I talked about it. Pittsburgh Knights struggling on this hill, but Raver making it look easy, and Monkyz with the nades for effect. These are going to be great, and at least it's going to connect on the Xploidz and Demon as well, shutting the push down before it even gets started.
Yeah, and I was going to say Rebel got blessed with some good spawns, but ultimately it didn't matter because PK, after winning the battle, they got the nades. And so if the quick double kill, you can easily take position back of that spawn. But Taylor, as we did have a reset, PK, just want to remind everybody, they're only going to be 60 points away from victory. So they technically eclipsed that 200-point marker. And Rebel, they're going to have to get something done now, Taylor, because the reset hasn't been working well for them. They haven't been able to get into that same flow again.
Yeah, got to get something going, man. This is looking rough. Rebel on the way out, it seems, giving Pittsburgh Knights a map #1 win. Monkyz, like we mentioned before, just like Powers from the United, Monkyz loves to be that guy on the flank. We saw Raver doing it earlier, but you got two guys who could just be absolutely devastating once they fully commit for the flank. And it looks as if it is going to be devastating for Rebel because Pittsburgh Knights are slowly but surely pushing up. Demon trying to make a move, does take down Dezo, but it's simply not going to be enough because the bulk of PK are here and they've got their themselves established on the fresh hill. And this hill is where they can win it.
All right, let's see if they can finally close it out, but I don't see anything slowing down the Knights as in this reset. Nothing has been able to. All right, only 33 points Rebel has been able to put up, but we'll see if they can snag some more. But Monkyz just snagged Cracked Soul. Even with him misrolling, almost comes away with a kill. Rebel moves in. A little numbers advantage, but it's still them pushing down a narrow chokeway, running right into the shots of Fearzly as he picks up a double. Solid shots coming out from Raver, but can Dezonide finish off both players? Yeah, a little help from Monkyz coming in the clutch.
And now you have to push. If you're Rebel, you got to get reckless. You just got to go forward because less than 10 points away from Pittsburgh Knights is a victory. Now 4 points away from victory. And Rebel, they do look like they're going to be up for contention just one more time. But Dezo is looking to finish off whoever's going to be inside the hill, and that should be it, Blaze. 224. And ladies and gentlemen, Pittsburgh Knights will in fact get the victory. And I think it comes down to 300 to 193 if I'm not mistaken. Excellent job coming out from Pittsburgh Knights to take map #1, and they lead 1-0 in the series.
Woo, excellent job indeed, because they were getting their butt kicks the first time around.
Yeah.
So they did a good job and they regained, but it goes into us talking about how the initial is so important on Control. Yep. How the first fight of every round, I don't care what mode it is, but as soon as that round kicks off, that first fight, how the game starts off, is so important with gears and players acquiring power positions and power weapons, and for them to get that early lead. And then we see them show us those good gears tactics and how to keep those leads, you know, rotating early, the defensive setup, keeping up on your numbers, making sure that you, make sure you output more damage. So it's nice to see that in this series hold true.
Yeah, definitely so. Excellent job from Pittsburgh Knights. Great adjustments after the resets. And Raver, Monkyz truly showing their value. Raver really showing why we had him as the player to watch today. His stats were excellent. Now, granted, that was only for execution, Blaze, but still, though, clearly in execution you got to slay out, and that translates well for control because it's constant chaos. I love this flank from Raver, and Monkyz also had his time to shine too on the flanks, but Raver, even now, pushing into the hill by himself, basically by himself anyways on that lower end, picking up 2, was just brilliant. It really was. Raver, and even here now, Monkyz, look at the score, 142-33 off the reset. Monkyz still hadn't died at this point.
Yeah, Monkyz was just on an absolute tear. You know, nice 3-piece from him there. And then, you know, pretty much throughout the entirety of this round, he was just relaxed. Look at Raver, 4 kills, 16 assists. Okay, 16 assists. He's always showing that he not only can slay, but, you know, he'll let his teammates hold the spotlight and he'll slay out as well. My fault, and he'll support as well.
Yeah, really well done. Really well done indeed. We talked about Pittsburgh Knights starting a series off strong. Blaze, you brought out that normally it's a cherry on top, right? When PK can win at least that map number 1 or one of the first 3. The fact that they do that now gives them a huge leg up in the series in general. Pittsburgh Knights, when they did in fact lose that map number 1 to E United during E Days, you could tell the rest of the series was incredibly off for them. I don't know if they just had a mental blocker, a mental barrier, but now that they won map 1, it seems as if the confidence is right back in play, and moving into Tomb Execution, they should be in Cloud 9, right? But Tomb Execution is going to be tough, and I'm curious to hear your opinion, who you value more heading into this map number 2.
You know, and also when it comes down to that E-Day loss that you mentioned, I do want to say that was a way more devastating L. You know,
it was
way more devastating L.
Yeah,
and anyone who may lose that way may be done for the night. Okay, but as we move on over towards the Tomb Execution, this is going to be interesting for me because, you know, I know if it's one thing that's true, Rebel is going to be very aggressive in getting that long shot. And we see how close all these squads are starting to play together here towards the middle of Tomb. So I guess my question is that who can put out enough early damage and have that focus to get that first down and pick up a kill there on Tree? And I'm still thinking that it's going to be towards PK because I like Dezonide in the middle when he plays this map. It seems like he's always able to, you know, lead his team in the right direction to set up a play, or he's going to make the play for him.
Dezo, right? And then what about Raver, right? We talked about his stats, how incredible they are. Raver is going to be excellent here too. Hard to shut down, especially with his 19% when it comes to first bloods for the roster in general. His stats are through the roof. I think the lowest that he had was number 5, at least from all of Pro League, or maybe number 7. Yeah. But regardless, his stats and execution are just absolutely incredible. Shutting him down isn't going to be easy either.
No, it's not going to be easy at all whatsoever. Whenever you're going to be up a 1v1 against him, I think that in this map, the way that it's spread out in several different 1v1 lanes, the initial fight isn't as clear cut as a map like Checkout, or, you know, maybe in that snipe lane on Clock Tower or the mid bridge on Canals. You know, it's initiated with a little bit more tact. So I feel like Dezonide has the ability to be more of a superstar than Raver on this map. And Raver's still going to be a factor, though. Let's not get it twisted. You know, he's still going to be a factor. And but we'll see how they balance out. They both got a part to play in this victory if they get it.
I do see that Pittsburgh Knights have played on Tomb in Pro League 2 times, once against Fury 1, the other against Team Queso. Both times Monkyz was the outlier kill-wise on Tomb, right? So even though we highlight Raver, we also talked about that was impressive because you also have Monkyz, who is consistently slaying out, and he is just as deadly, if not deadlier, than that of Raver. Taking a look at Rebel, they have played Tomb a total of 2 times as well when it comes to Pro League. Once against E United. They ended up losing that 4-6. Xploidz was the guy who really popped off, which kind of no surprise when you think about his usage with the power weapons, his ability to slay out with the sniper or the torque bow is kind of unmatched really by anybody in the league. And then a second time was against Fire and Ice. They won that 6-4. Identivez was kind of the highlight there. But again, just highlighting E United, their Xploidz popping off as well as it did. And I think I remember that, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I did. It was Xploidz versus Dyslexic that we were highlighting, and Xploidz was hitting some wonderful shot. But Rebel, one thing that kind of did them in the end was their inability to close out rounds. Even if they did get first blood or they got the power weapon, they would always find some way to fall apart. So that was week number 1, though, where a couple weeks into Pro League, at least 3 weeks into Pro League at this point play. So I expect to see Rebel to be a little bit tighter this time around than they were when they played E United on Tomb in week 1.
Yeah, things have definitely changed since week number one, and we'll see if Rebel is going to be able to play tighter and close out these rounds up against PK because that it's going to be difficult. Once PK gets first blood, they're going to do a good job in making sure they surround the rest of the players and not get up into that one-shot range. So keys of victory here going into this map number two, Rebel. It's going to be their power weapon playing those 1v1 spots. Can they get those quick picks? Can they be able to get, let Identivez get that twerk ball and make some plays on that end of the map, or let Xploidz get the sniper and make some plays on his end. Then on the flip end for PK, Monkyz and Dezonide, their synergy mid-map, they do a great job creating openings for the team. They get those first bloods. They if they're able to outplay Rebel there early on, they'll put that pressure on them, and then really at that point, Rebel, they're either gonna crumble, okay, and it's gonna be a 2-0 in favor of PK, or they're going to rise to the occasion and hit some big shots.
I think Rebel is still in a good spot because Xploidz is going to be playing for the sniper. He's more comfortable in that spot. He's more comfortable playing for sniper and having sniper in general. And then you have Torquebow, which is where Demon on Rebel has kind of always excelled at taking that fight. He's kind of been the tip of the spear, even when Tomb was added to the competitive rotation, way back when. I think going back several splits ago, right? Actually, Tomb was original map that was added in when we moved to the 3 different game modes of Control, Execution, and Escalation. Demon was always the front runner, being confident to push for the Torquebow. So he's definitely going to be on that side, and he knows that fight better than anybody else. My only question is if Rebel wants to square up with Pittsburgh Knights in that new meta, which is just a 4-man push in middle, which is going to be difficult because, again, you have Raver and Monkyz, whose stats are just absolutely incredible, and those two guys can, quite honestly, decimate really anybody in that mid fight. So I think it's better if Rebel does split out, send Demon for Torquebow, Xploidz for the sniper, and kind of go back to the old meta. I think that would benefit Rebel more.
Well, if Rebel is going to match up in those close 2v2 fights and that 4-man fight, they're going to have better teamwork than PK. And we'll see if they're smooth enough to beat them. If not, like you say, spread out the map, win your individual battles, and let your superstars take over. Dude, stay alive. Let that be the win condition. Here we go.
Alive, man.
Map number 2.
Hard to do.
PK versus Rebel. And we're kicking this one off with Fearzly. As you see, he's checked up with Demon in a 1v1 spot, but Identivez is super aggressive in the middle.
Yeah.
As he's pressing through with Xploidz. They're going to be chasing down these kills over there towards the bow. Crack gets that down on Fearzly. So a great pinch coming in from Rebel.
This is interesting. Pittsburgh Knights starting off strong by sending Dezo up top, and he was thinking maybe I get those nades and can make an impact on the sniper fight. But nobody was there. Nobody was home. So at the end of the day, obviously with Identivez aggression, Rebel takes the man advantage, taking down 2 players. Raver needs to get away with his life. 2 players in front. He missed that first shot. Dezo's in a really tough spot too with the nades. He throws this right though. It's still doable for PK, but they got to do a lot of things right.
Yeah, they have to do a lot of things right. He needs to at least come away with one kill there with those nades in that 1v2. Set himself up for a 1v1, go big, and hope his teammate stays alive. It was a difficult 2v4 to clutch up. But nice effort. Nice effort coming out from the side of PK. But let's see how Rebel wants to initiate coming into round number 2. Round 1, it was an aggressive push across the mid-map from Identivez and Xploidz. And round number 2, we are seeing that same speed from Identivez.
And notice, Dezo will not be going up top. He's going to go back to the tried and true. I'm going to fight for Torquebow. I like that play. You didn't get enough value from round 1 going up top. You're probably not going to get it in round 2. Great shot. That's going to be 2 players down for Rebel now. Make that only 1 more remaining. We talked about that aggression. And Identivez is on the opposite side of the map. 1v3, the rest of his team ended up dying off. And a quick round will go to the way of Pittsburgh Knights as they go back to plan A. Tried and true, fight for the Torquebow, fight the mid fight, nothing tricky, don't go up top, and it seemed to work out a lot better for them.
So yeah, we saw PK play it, like you say, play it passive in middle, focus their numbers on getting a Torquebow and making a play there, and their strategy worked. Rebel couldn't counter in time off their initial. They were looking for kills, but it seems like they still had some decisions to make, and from there, PK, they hit shots early on. Coming off into this round, Fearzly does go down. Taylor takes a big shot there from Demon, and now he's still scurrying away. That's a good flash. Demon can get 2 kills from this situation. He'll take down Dezo, but Fearzly gets his health back. Not able to connect with the bow. It's going to be a 3v2 in favor of Rebel.
3v2. Make that a 2v2. Excellent job from Fearzly to take down Demon. That puts really the odds kind of 0-0. Fearzly with the torque bow, Xploidz with the sniper, which Xploidz with the sniper I think is my biggest worry. Nice body shot. You thought he was going to connect on the head, but falls a bit short. Fearzly now last alive, but make it now 1v1. Torque bow versus sniper.
3 torque bows versus 6 snipes. This is Xploidz versus Fearzly. Talk about an epic 1v1 going into round number 3 as Xploidz gets the nades, but I don't think he saw Fearzly's transition towards the stairs. He's not looking where he needs to, but will Fearzly get the intel that Xploidz doesn't know just yet? He's not going to move while he has his active. Creeping up with a quick blind fire. He'll put it, right on his head.
Oh, it's so scary to have Fearzly or Xploidz. You know, two guys that know each other very well, but also are so excellent when it comes to their power weapon usage. But I mentioned Xploidz. He is so dangerous with that sniper that you gotta fear him. You really do. And he lines it up perfectly well. And that's the value Xploidz brings to Rebel. He is so scary with power weapons. Big addition to this roster. You love to see it.
Yeah, that's why you bring him onto the team to make big plays like that. And we'll see Rebel play this round a little bit tighter towards middle, and on the flippy and PK a little bit further back. It's a play for Twerkbo once again, making sure that they can at least trade out these power weapons. They got a lot of respect for Rebel in that snipe fight up top. They're not even going to be contesting Xploidz for too long. Well, I think they'll start contesting if you start getting a few of these headshots, Taylor. Ain't gonna let it get it for free no more.
You can't. You really can't. I mean, there's certain players that you just can't allow them to run rampant on the map. Even if it's a 4v4, you can't allow them to have any power weapons in hands, and Xploidz is simply that guy. You cannot afford to allow him to run free with the sniper in hand. We just seen the effects that he had in that 1v1 against Fearzly. So that's something that I want to see Pittsburgh Knights put a lot of emphasis on, but for Rebel, they're happy if Fearzly gets away with the sniper for free, and they don't even care if they give Dezo the torque bow, because at the end of the day, Xploidz, I think, is more valuable, in my opinion, when it comes to his power weapon play. But a bit of a stalemate, a longer one than I was expecting. Nobody wanted to make the first move.
Yeah, no one wanted to make the first move. I agree with you with him being a little bit more impactful with his sniper versus Dezonide having a torque bow on the other end. You see, Dezonide, he only has 2 shots left. Xploidz still has 8. You know, once Dezo revs up that torque bow, if he misses a shot, you know, that advantage is slowly going out the window. So you end up having to save most of those bows for late game situations for that center line tiebreaker heal. It's also a 50-50 fight for nades up top. And, you know, with Xploidz, and we know him being able to hit these shots, he'll buy his teammates enough time to get a bow of their own. And it all comes down to this. Who can make the play, Taylor?
We're going to find out. Overtime Hill's going to be in play. Both teams sprinting for control. You know, I believe there's a player up top, player 3, Raver, so that is a bit of an advantage. Nice Lancer shots. You got to get into the hill, though, and it's still going to be contested. 3v2, 3 seconds to cap, and now it's going to be a stalemate in 15. You got players left and right. Raver's got a sprint. He's the only one currently alive. Will he have enough time to get to the hill? Surely, but they stand up. Dezo gets the chunk. Raver gets the finish on the other, and it's going to be a narrow victory. But ultimately, in the end, Pittsburgh Knights will get it. Excellent job from PK.
Oh my, it was like they're smashing their A buttons in that moment, like, hurry, get there. And then, you know, you see Raver turn the corner, and I think he even has a lance route in this moment. Now he's running up with his shotty. Get that kill, not taking any chances, but, you know, sometimes you got to turn that corner and have a lance route just to be able to help your teammate from afar.
Right. Incredible, man. I love innings like that. I think that's one of the most chaotic innings we've had as of yet in terms of just players being down. Raver having to sprint from up top position. That could have went a number of different ways, but in the end, it was Pittsburgh Knights getting the win. This time around, though, Rebel, excellent work. Obviously, over there on the Torco side of things, Xploidz even holding his ground for that sniper fight. He had it on his back, but he surely wasn't going to die with it. And then Monkyz, good dancing, but it's simply not going to be enough. And a quick answer back will come to fruition. Rebel takes a lead once again.
Man, both teams going back and forth with these rounds. No one able to kind of find a flow and figure out their opponent. One side seems to be the more dominant one, and that's currently the Swarm side. That swarm side give you a right hand in that fight at tree and that snipe, but down low, as we'll start to see PK. Actually, I take that back. It's the cog side that has the advantage side, but it gives you the right hand in that bow fight. Regardless, Taylor, we will see those power weapons be traded off once again in the same hands. Oh, he's got a good shot lined up. Raver's trying to catch him off guard. Xploidz trying to hit some difficult shots. Soon this round's gonna start to slow down.
Ooh. Maybe. Nice shot, though, from Dezo. And if you want to connect on anybody on Rebel, take down Xploidz, get the sniper out and play, which I think it's going to be on the ground, or maybe it was backpack. Regardless, though, Pittsburgh Knights aren't slowing down, and they are looking to close this out. Crack last alive, and Dezo continues to show value.
I can't believe he just sniped Demon through. Oh, man. Great shots coming out from Dezo that round. He made the big play. Like you said, if it was any one in which he had to hit with the bow, it had to be Xploidz with the snipe. Right. It was a battle between the power weapon players, and Dezonide caught him off guard, transitioning through the spawn back towards mid-map. And Demon can't let that happen. That's where you keep the power weapon advantage for your team when you trade off between bow and snipe. It's making sure that when a whole squad hears that bow get revved, you stay in cover.
Yep.
You know, you force him out of cover. You know, don't give him no free shot.
They gave him a couple anyways. And obviously Dezo takes that to the bank, but well done. That brings it 3-3. Raver this time around getting the sniper, and Dezo getting the first blood on the Xploidz. Excellent job from Raver handling his own, and he needed to do that, and that should set the precedence for this round number 7, 4v2. Demon and Identivez, they do have some stuff to work with, but Identivez, yeah, he just has a torque bow, and I assume you're saying dominant in terms of Raver?
No, Dezonide picked up 4 in a round.
What?
Yeah.
I missed that.
Yeah, when? You did. Unless I'm tripping, Dezonide got 3. Sorry, I said 4. He got 3 in a round. Yeah, you know, outside that
Raver,
last kill.
I was looking at Raver getting the
boy,
kill
Dezonide won a big 1v1. I forgot who it was at first, but then he checked up Crack, won his next 1v1. Then Raver got pushed with the snipe out. Dezonide took care of him for the third. And at that point, Identivez was in a 1v4. It was a wrap. You know, you can give him an ace, you know, the honorary ace. But as we enter this round, Dezonide with a right hand again. He's been dominant on this side of the map. His flash trying to connect, but the flanks is there. Fearzly gets pinched, but actually, he doesn't get pinched. He's able to wrap shot Identivez, pick up the kill, make it a 1v1 for the bow. And it's going to be a 2v2 up top.
2v2 up top, make that now over with. Raver does win that fight, but it's still scrappy because Demon actually gets taken down and Crack is gone. So I thought Demon won that fight, but no, in the end, it's going to be Pittsburgh Knights, and the execution comes through from Monkyz, and rightly so, because Pittsburgh Knights now are 1 round away from leading 2-0 in this series off the back of winning 3 rounds, 6, 7, and 8. And they don't look like they're slowing down anytime soon. The adjustment for Rebel needs to come through. Blaze, what is that adjustment?
That adjustment for Rebel is going to, man, they're getting a power weapon, so that's working for them. If they can stop this bow pickup, okay, the rounds in which they've done that, they've been more successful on than the others, and they're not going to be able to do it this round as Fearzly and Dezo once again holds a rogue bow on the ground. I could have got a double team kill, but they get out. Now over at the snipe side of the map, Raver comes in a pinch. He gets taken out, though, by a quick revive, but some long-range support from Fearzly. He's going to be able to pick up a kill. They couldn't get another. Here's the other. Now, a 1v2. It's up to Dezo. He gets some good shots. He can't let this damage go to waste. He has to push into this fight, and he knows it. Even though it's not a good fight, Taylor, he has to contest. In the end, it's going to be a Rebel victory. And so, you know, it seems like, well, I guess that key to victory was that, you know, they came away from that snipe fight with kills this time. Before, Raver kind of really played his life on his topping end of the map, him and Monkyz, but they were able to catch him off guard this time.
They were, and it's interesting that Rebel wins that despite them getting first blooded. So excellent recovery. It puts them just about neck and neck with Pittsburgh Knights. Could see a round 11 shortly. Rebel refusing to die off, but it's to be expected. They're Warriors fighters all the way through. Dezo can't get out in time. Fearzly, will he be able to get the pickup? Yes, he will. Demon just a bit shy from getting there in time. And the exit is in, but watch the mid push. The mid push is aggressive. Identivez and Crack pushing all the way through. They'll at least get the best of Fearzly, but then quickly answer back as Dezo takes out Xploidz. Raver will get the sniper. Dezo needs to stay alive. He's in no man's land. He manages to do so. Crack gets the down and a full kill onto Dezo. Brings it to a 2v3 now as Monkyz rotate around. Identivez might get pincered in the moment, but the rest of his boys are going to
Oh, they're hurt.
This is looking like a Rebel round.
And Raver cuts across the middle. He goes for that point blank. He couldn't get it. He gets, he gets downed over cover. In the end, we're going to a round 11. It's not over yet. So over these last 2 rounds, we have seen Rebel be able to get first blood. It was their aggression mid-map. They took down Crack, and they were able to keep those power weapon players on the ropes. And then the previous round, it was them winning that fight against Raver and Monkyz. That's a sniper and also coming away with a power weapon. So how will this one balance out? Do our squads want to play this one slow, or do they want to play it fast? We're about to find out. It looks like PK are going to get themselves another torque bow.
Try to. Should be able to get it. Yes, they will.
Perfectly timed.
Excellently timed. Identivez, though, trying to get away with the sniper, trying to line up a shot.
Timed as
Monkyz
well.
Might be a victim. Oh, nice body, though. That's going to result in Dezo picking up Crack, though. Unfortunately, that's not the result Identivez was looking for. Torquebo revving up, but good trade and an excellent trade even after that. Dezo and Fearzly will fall. It's a 2v3.
And Identivez sniped the bow player in the back. He's going to get the body shot. He's going to open it up for his teammate to move in. He's going to hit another body shot, a double hop and it down. He moves in. It's not over yet. It's a clean 2v2. PK fighting off their left hand. Identivez can pull out the power weapon and slow it down, but his flash creates an opportunity. It's a blunder from Monkyz. He takes down Raver in a round 11. PK, surely they don't lose this 2v1.
Rebel doesn't lose. Oh, good body. Pittsburgh Knights will, in fact, lose to round number 11.
Really, Rebel don't lose it, and they
will take the victory and an uncharacteristic team kill. Monkyz killing Raver, and like you said, a squared up and fresh 2v2. That's going to haunt Monkyz because that could have played a lot differently if he doesn't do that. But in the end, Rebel, hey, they will eat you alive if you make simple mistakes like that. That ended up costing Pittsburgh Knights that round in general. Well, there it is. We're tied up 1-1, everybody, between Rebel and Pittsburgh Knights. Coming up next, Vasgar Escalation. Don't miss it. We'll be right back. And welcome back, everybody, to the Gears Pro League Split 2, day number 6. A finish that I wasn't expecting, Blaze. Monkyz with the team kill on Raver. Quite honestly, gave the edge and advantage over to Identivez, who hit that final body shot and ultimately got the final kill in that round number 11. This could have played a lot differently. But, you know, hey, that speaks volumes about Rebel's ability to not only capitalize on mistakes, but also, to win 3 rounds in a row. Remember, they were down, I think it was, 5-4, if I'm not mistaken. And then they ultimately ended up coming, or 5-3, and they ended up coming back and winning the entire thing. So good on Rebel to, be on the brink of losing, but not give up and ultimately win.
Yeah, they stayed focused and they found a way to win, and they did a great job. Ultimately, they played some great execution, and they found kills. You know, if the initial didn't go their way, they stayed alive, they played close, and they found a player to isolate and get that first blood on. Or you see, like, in a moment like this where PK starts to clutch up a little bit and make a big play happen, but this blunder by Monkyz accidentally takes out his teammates. That's when, playing too close goes wrong.
Yeah, that's a tough break. It really is, because PK, Monkyz and his partner, Monkyz and Raver, were playing that very well. Identivez ended up throwing a stun on the right side, and I don't know if it was planned or intentional or not, but it was an excellent jump over cover to avoid that stun to go for the reset. And that could have been everything. It really could have. If Monkyz doesn't kill Raver, maybe PK wins that. That, again, uncharacteristic of Monkyz, but accidents do happen, and obviously Rebel will take that to the bank. Excellent job from them, and they won that outright. So which means we're going into map number 3. It's going to be Vasgar Escalation, a map that both teams are very familiar with. It's been played pretty much all the time, it seems, in Pro League in general. It's either that map. Well, actually, Training Grounds and Harbor do get a bit in rotation, but
Harbor's been in a rotation a lot more lately.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, quite a bit. And I don't know why that is. Why do you think that is? Not Split 1, but Split 2.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe they just, want to mix it up, or they're tired of having to play some of these squads on Vasgar. When team changes happen, you know that it takes a little bit to get good, a little bit of time to get good at Vasgar, especially if you go up against a squad that hasn't made too many team changes, like the Knights or like the Pioneers or Rise, where they're just kind of really swapping out one player, but they really understand those game modes. Sometimes you want to just play them on a harbor and take that 50-50 fight on the winch to win the round. So if you got good players on your team who can play in those close quarter battles really well, go for it.
Super surprised. I looked at the stats. Rebel hasn't actually played Vasgar in Pro League Blaze, at least as of yet. They've only played on training grounds and they've only played on Harbor, but no Vasgar. Meanwhile, we do have a couple of rets from Pittsburgh Knights. One was against Fury 1. They got that victory 5-2. The other one was a round 9 losing to Rise 4-5, but they played that well for, at least from what I'm seeing. Monkyz definitely the outlier with 24,000 damage, went 18-17. So maybe we will see Pittsburgh Knights have the leg up here on Vasgar simply because they have the reps as of recently.
Yeah, and I think that's a good deduction there too as well. PK, even if they didn't have those few reps this season of the Pro League, I still will kind of put them on top in this map, on this mapping game mode, just because of their past success with it. And so I think they're going to be a tough team to take down, especially having Monkyz and Fearzly on this map. I think Monkyz plays that 1v1 position really well for the squad.
Sure.
Making sure that no one can get that neutral hill, no one can get behind towards that home hill, and he knows when to play up and just kind of be passive. And on the flip end, Fearzly being right behind Dezonide and Raver, I think that's a great combo.
I think it is as well, and it's kind of shown with how much they've improved in Escalation. Chaos was great in his own right. He really was. One map that Chaos and Pittsburgh Knights in Split 1 was, always found success, or at least was most competitive on, was in fact on Vasgar. You even go back to Grand Finals when they played against the Pioneers. They had the lead, 4-2, and then ultimately, obviously, we saw how that ended in a 5-4, and I think that was a deflating loss for Pittsburgh Knights that kind of put them in the grave to ultimately lose the next map and lose Grand Finals to finish second once again. But Vasgar is still a map that I think if any map is going to be played out of the 3, this is where Pittsburgh Knights feels the most confident on.
Yeah, this is where they feel the most confident on. And, and then outside of that, Harbor is Harbor, so yeah. I think they're pretty damn confident on that map. And the way that everybody has kind of been playing with the sniper on training grounds as of late, has created some great opportunities for Dezonide to open up that flank route and play for the power weapon at the underpass of training grounds. But when it comes to them all, I think we can debate between Harbor and Vasgar on which map they're more comfortable on, just because of how much of a force Raver is when he plays that winch. And I think their opponents kind of knew that. They said, let's ban this one out. We don't want to deal with this. And then on the flip end, PK was probably like, we don't want to see you guys on training grounds, playing for the snipes and the M bars everywhere. We'll rather out-rotate you, outthink you.
And Rebel, has had good success on Escalation. Even though I said they haven't played on Vasgar for Pro League for this split, it's not like they don't know what Vasgar's all about. Vasgar has been here literally since the beginning, even when competitive was only Escalation, So this is a map they're going to be super familiar with. But I am curious to see them play here in Split number 2 with this new roster and how well it's going to come across. But either way, the fight is underway. The breakout is in. Demon looking to get that first win against Dezo. Dezo, though, not backing down and not going down without a fight. And you also notice we kind of stagnated on the top end of the map. They're waiting to see how the tank fight goes. Well, Dezo wins. Now does Rebel put their pedal to the metal, right, and go forward? Well, they still haven't. They're still kind of taking their time.
Yeah, they are taking their time. And I think that actually they should have been pushed, Taylor. And the reason why is that they had a player having that height advantage and being able to shoot down if they needed them to. But look, they're making a push right now, even without their teammate being in that fight with them. Why couldn't they push 10 seconds ago? I guess they wanted to wait for him to respawn and lose another 1v1, jokes aside. But, at least watch the flank, and I guess that was a valid response. In the end, PK wins every single battle in which they get into, and they'll win this round.
Definitely will win the round, and a round that's hold on. Did they leave 4 down? They left Demon down, and then he was able to get the touch, brother. How many times will we see that happen?
Damn, they just gonna juke us out like that?
We set it up and everything. We were done. The outro was set and solidified, man. But we're still going. Now all that needs to happen is Rebel to win map 1 or round 1.
Yeah, see, that's what happens when you get caught slipping, everybody. You cannot You have to play it around to the end. Don't be leaving no players down. But as we enter into this next fight, PK trying to press back Rebel. They were able to catch Identivez on the flank, and they still have another player behind them. Crack's good taken out, but now before he takes the kill to the grave. And on the other end of the map, you do see Dezonide capturing the A hill. The B hill will get captured as well. So the map's a little bit off balance. There's still some things to get settled, but PK did buy themselves enough time to respawn as a 4-man unit.
Like you said, respawn as a 4-man unit. They're on all 3 hills momentarily. We do see Rebel, though, still fighting, and an opportunity to take this round is still well within their grasp. Look, 25 seconds is a long time and a lot of leeway for Rebel to push forward, but not long enough where they can just, you know, kind of pump the brakes and take their time. They still have to push forward, and B is obviously where they're going to have to fight tooth and nail to take that. Now, if they do get a decap here, there's an opportunity still for Rebel to win, and look at that. The decap is going to be coming through. Rebel very solidified over there, and also wins the fight up top. Dezo ends up dying. Xploidz will also win that fight against him, and look at that. We set it up. We thought it was over with, but Demon staying alive and not being finished was the undoing that Pittsburgh Knights did not see happening.
Man, PK are really scratching their heads like, how the hell we let that one slip through? And, you know, you can't let things like that happen.
You can't.
But, you know, we saw one thing is that Rebel with that second breath of life in the round, like, oh my God, we got away with it.
Right.
They took that energy all the way into the end. You know, they challenged their fights. They knew that they got blessed with a second chance, and they made the most of it. So let's see how they want to play this initial going into the next round, Taylor, as we're seeing more of the focused fight go towards the B hill. And actually, Rebel splits up into a 2-2, and I like this.
I think the big thing that you can't, or that you could take away from that last round is whether it be Pittsburgh Knights or Rebel, you cannot allow to give them any type of confidence at all or any type of life, or else they're going to take it to the bank. You mentioned a 2-2 split. We do see that still. Nobody has died just yet, but maybe we do see the tank fight being won from PK, and it is officially going to be won. Meanwhile, on the other side, though, Rebel hitting some wonderful shots, but Crack is the only one last alive in a 1v2. This round could be over with very quickly. Well, maybe.
Definitely a strong possibility as Crack is finally taken out. The trip cap domination should be able to come through. Oh, he leaves. I think he could have played for it. It would have been close, but Dezonide has help behind him. The flash comes in. He'll get the stun. Here's Monkyz on the flank. They clean up one. Monkyz stays alive. And more importantly, he stays alive again, and he's going to go rotate around for another flank, Taylor. The Lancer fire is there from Raver. Monkyz actually able to hit a few headies from the middle map. Still, the fight not won just yet. He'll back up to help his teammate out. Still a battle for C.
I'm curious if Monkyz doesn't deviate through mid to go back onto the flank, or at least into the front of Rebel. Does that fight play differently? Does Pittsburgh Knights actually eliminate Rebel off the respawn and then get C? I guess we'll never know. It's the same thing if Dezo would have stayed on the hill. You thought there was enough time. Maybe there could have been enough time. Maybe things could have been played a little bit differently. But Pittsburgh Knights are playing the long game, and I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with the plays that they're making, to be honest with you. They're playing it safe, and hey, there's nothing wrong with playing it safe. But Rebel, they should take the 2-1 back in their favor, and Monkyz about the blindside. Oh, maybe not. Identivez turns around just in the nick of time, but he's weak. Monkyz will get the finish onto him. Well done, but Rebel still has a 2-1.
Yeah, that 2-1 still in their favor, and they do have the win condition off of that, but you see PK, they moved in, clean house. That'd be their home hill recaptured, and now they got to win the 2v1 at C. B should be a free hill, and Identivez is waiting for the last possible opportunity to get some help from his teammates, and he will, you know, wait for the right moment. They'll be able to continue to play this round, but I do believe this is going to be the last team fight. If Rebel cannot win these engagements, hey, it's going to be 1-1.
Still, though, Rebel's going to be pushing up. They're a deadly force, but with player one Identivez already dropping off, and so is the second. Well, that should be all she wrote. And not to mention, two Monkyz did slip through, and he's going to be on the opposite end. There's no way that Rebel's going to be able to win this round, and Pittsburgh Knights will hold on. You know, comes to show you, Blaze playing a safe game seemed to be the right call.
Now, when it comes to the safe game, the way the Rebel kicked off that round, they played it into a 2-2. Once they got their numbers at B and they saw it was 3 people there, the play was quickly capture A and switch off into a home hill setup. But what happened was that Raver is such a force with that Botox pistol. He's able to, even though he's not getting kills, he's putting damage on players to the point where you can't cap that hill in the open. He's buying his teammates crucial seconds to win their numbers fight and then rotate back to him and keep that advantage. And we saw in that round, once PK had the lead, they never really let it go, and they played a great round of Escalation.
Great round of Escalation indeed. Brings us 1-1. Retros now on the battlefield. Rebel this time, unlike the round number 1 Blazer, being way more aggressive, pushing into Pittsburgh Knights. PK, though, pushing back and doing a hell of a job doing so. In fact, Rebel commits 4 members to this engagement, to this fight, and Pittsburgh Knights are still winning it, despite it being a 4v4. Now make that a 3v3. Plus, you got a member on the flank. That's going to be Dezo. This round's starting to get a bit scary for Rebel, and if they don't start winning fights, they could be down and out very quickly with one of the quickest rounds we've had in the 3 that we've seen so far. The only benefit, though, is Xploidz off the respawn, sees what's going down. He was also a victim on the C fight, and he sprints over to B, and that very well could have saved the round for Rebel to at least have an opportunity to fight back.
And he's got some help from Demon. The cross is there, and they're going to join forces in his 2v2 as Demon takes the lead. He's going to have to back up. He soaked up a bit of damage, just like he did in that team fight to start the round. You know, that was his job, but he was hoping his teammates was going to be able to move in there onto that C hill and start cleaning up those kills, but it was PK that won that engagement. But I will say, Rebel doing a great job off the respawn and stay up into this round. They're starting to lose those battles towards the spawn. They probably pressed a little bit too far there, Taylor. They should have been happy with what they got at B. Instead, they'll come off the respawn. They'll get their home hill back. And it does seem like they're going to play for B one more time.
I think, you know, obviously playing for B is the right call here. I do like that, at least for Pittsburgh Knights' sake, that Raver was able to get there in time and join Monkyz, or Monkyz opposite way around. Monkyz was able to join Raver. This fight is going to be important for Pittsburgh Knights to solidify this round. If they win this fight, this 3v3, that's going to be all she wrote. PK will take a 2-1 lead. If Rebel, though, wins this engagement, well, there's a chance they might steal this round away despite the points being so one-sided and so different. But it looks as if PK might win. Identivez, though, on the flank, in between 2. Sandwich, no worries. Doubles back, meat shield in front, and he finally will drop. But that was one hell of a fight and a heroic effort on his part. But in the end, it's not enough for Rebel. Pittsburgh Knights will take round number 3.
Yeah, PK, they'll lock this one up. No issues whatsoever. They got themselves off to a good start winning that team fight. Winning that first initial team fight from that pressure that came in at their home hill at C. Forced back, Rebel was able to get some time off their home hill and then rotate down low and win those big engagements at B. So good job to PK in that round. We got our last round of the first half coming up. We got Retro Lancers on the map, and both our teams are going to start building up these Botox. No one's trying to rush that nade too quickly. They're getting some support weapons on the map, and I guess they'll kind of decide what nade they want later on when they'll see what the score is going in the second half, because depending on what power weapons go center line, you may want an incendiary grenade at a different spot.
And it's going to be a sniper. That's the power weapon that's going to be placed. And it's most likely going to be placed on tank. And that's something that I think Rebel and Pittsburgh Knights are both equally comfortable with. And they like fighting for that quick pick. And for Rebel, they're also going to be on Arrival's next spawn. So if they do lose this round, or maybe even win it, I do foresee them placing a sniper down to, again, go for that quick pick, because that's just what makes them feel comfortable in general. Pittsburgh Knights off to a great start off the initial. Once again, they do have the 2-1. They should lose that very shortly. Fearzly's by himself, looking at a constant respawn of Rebel members up in front. But still, though, winning that fight against not only Identivez, but Xploidz gives the opportunity for Monkyz and Dezo to rotate over to B to maintain that 2-1. But that does put the pressure back on Fearzly and Raver Blaze to hold their ground. Luckily, Dezo joins into the mix. We're going to have a 3v3 fight for A.
Now, with the flash connecting and a headshot coming out with the Botox, that's going to slow Rebels down just a bit. But Demon moves up by himself, soaked up a lot of shots, but where's the follow-up, right? You know, if he moves up 2 seconds later, he gets the help from Crack. Identivez comes in at the right time, and little coordinated fights like that really make the difference if you want to win a championship. In the end, Taylor, it's Crack who gets the kill, who will finish the fight off for Rebel. The A still is not able to get capped up just yet, as the rest of the PK members come off the respawn, and they're going to push out Crack, and they'll get that down, and I think they're going to play for C next.
Wait for C. That seems to be the play anyways for Fearzly and Dezo. They push up. The only player to kind of keep them at bay is Identivez, but because he's mid, he's simply not going to have that angle, and he's forced to now rotate out round left, or maybe even wait. I think he's going to wait for Crack to join into the mix, and yeah, now he's going to go ahead and join him to push up the C. The score line is still very close, and these next couple of hills, these next couple of plays and team fights are going to be critical for both rosters to either A, take the advantage, keep the advantage, or lose the advantage, and it looks as if Pittsburgh Knights with Fearzly being on that flank, man, he's being a nuisance.
Getting some good shots. Demon goes down as well as Xploidz, but the flank from Crack, he's able to get one, and he's going to join his teammates there at the respawn. Across map, Identivez will be able to guard the B hill and wait for help. He's going to play this a little bit further back, utilize that lance to put some damage in on some of these players. The Raver marked, he knows how he wants to move around his hill. He's still in a 1v2. His teammates need to be proactive on this side of map. With Demon going down, Taylor, they're getting crossed out, and Rebel's in a difficult spot.
Incredibly difficult spot, maybe even an impossible spot with 20 seconds remaining. They need to get on A, and player one Identivez needs to win the 1v against Raver. Oh. Identivez wins it though, and the opportunity for Rebel to take this round is now within their grasp, and the B is going to be decapped, and the fight is also going to be won on A. Plays, I think Rebel just did it.
Identivez won the big 1v1. No one will get to the B hill in time to stop this victory from coming through. Even if that fight was won by Monkyz, it still lies on the back of Identivez going big in this position.
Yes, yes it does. And you know what? The king, man, making it happen. Well done. And that right there is another round that Pittsburgh Knights, look solid in, but Rebel ends up taking. Now, mind you, I say that with a grain of salt because Rebel still had that point lead, Blaze. But again, like losing those critical fights, Rebel, they've got a good head on their shoulders, cool, calm, and collected. When it matters most, when they need to clutch up, they clutch up.
Yeah, they go huge. They truly do it. And I think every player on this team has that clutch gene in their blood when their team needs them the most to figure out a way on how to make a big play in a moment. And Identivez really is one of the, he does that very, very well. It doesn't matter the team in which he's on. If his execution, it actually doesn't even matter the game mode. If his team needs a 1v2 out of him, you can count on him about 80% of the time to get it done. But as we head into the first round of the second half, we will see those shot grenades get placed, and both squads will be able to get them. They got placed in those retro lancer positions. 1v1 being won by Dezonide against Identivez to kick it off, Taylor, and you'll start to see PK move on over towards the home hill of Rebel.
Like you said, PK rotating for the home hill of Rebel. They should be able to get that. Meanwhile, obviously, PK needs to know, or at least they should know, that Rebel is going to be sending some members over towards D. They will check them up. We'll see Fearzly and Raver opposite of Crack and Demon. And maybe we see player 3 Xploidz move in as the X Factor through mid. I don't know if Pittsburgh Knights know he's there, but either way, the push is in. Demon pushes up. The Lancer Fire from Fearzly was enough to pepper Demon enough to get him down. Great shot plays, brings it to a 1v. Crack wins it, and an excellent retake from Rebel.
A beautiful retake from Rebel. But can they get their home hill back? They won't be able to. And they're just going to keep their opponent's home hill decapped. I still think that, capture the D hill. Why not? Force, buy some more time on the clock. It's still worth it. You earn that battle. You'll see both players rotate across mid-map to get that down on Monkyz. But will Monkyz get revived, or is he being watched? He's being watched over. Now Rebel, they're only down by 10 points, Taylor. They still get the F hill capped up, and they're going to be in a great position to defend both these hills. They also know with Monkyz coming out the respawn, they pretty much got 2v2 fights across the map. And they'll be, with this kill coming through as well, they still got that man advantage. And they're probably going to take this 2v1 up top.
Yeah, well, now even especially so, because on the opposite end, Identivez and Demon win. I thought they were going to fully overextend the challenge, Pittsburgh Knights off the respawn, but it seems as if they're actually going to park the bus, and there's no harm, no foul in doing so. PK, in my opinion, shouldn't be making this push in the way that they're doing so. They only have 2 members to push up. They're in a bit of a mismatch in a 3v2. I think player 5 Dezo just threw his life away, but regardless, still going to be a 3v4, but a mismatch nonetheless. If Dezo doesn't get antsy and push up like that in that 2v3, it could have been a straight up 4v4, but with Monkyz Boltok shots hitting true, PK still has a chance to get the break.
Yeah, they do. And they're hitting some good shots. Like you say, the Boltok shots hitting true. Team fight won by Rebel. You will see Dezonide come off the respawn and decap E. That buys them a little bit of time. but that's just a little bit of time.
Yeah.
It's 20 on the clock. He needs to clutch up in a 1v2, and players on the other side of map, they need to get to that F hill in time. There's still enough time on the clock to get it done, but not anymore.
Oh, it's GG's.
That's a dream scenario. That's just Rebel going up 3-2. Good for them.
Yeah, excellent. I mean, seriously, good for Rebel. This would be a big map to take to lead 2-1 over Pittsburgh Knights, heading into map number 4, which you said you benefited Rebel on, right? Speyer
I do.
Control. So this is their chance. If Rebel can win this map, lead 2-1, this series could very well be in their grasp. But again, another talking point, which in the future you also benefited Rebel on map number 5, which would be Canals, but we'll get to that talking point when we get to it, if we get to it. But that was a great round for Rebel, because that was the first round we had seen them truly control from start to finish.
And now they're gonna have to follow it up with a repeat performance, but don't get themselves in an early hole. Start off sooner rather than later, as they're gonna build up those Botox to Retro Lancers, so that both squads will be able to use that on the map. Now, I really want to see this break out, and it's going to be a 2-2 for both teams, unless player 6 cuts back and goes towards that F hill. He will not. Actually, he will. So it could be PK actually trying to play for the home hill setup for F and D as they cut across mid-map. They're going to hold off for now. Rebel able to defend with that shot grenade. But I do think PK's main focus will be the D hill. Rebel, they're looking for a 2v1 also on the map somewhere. They don't need it. They're chilling. They took their 2v1 and captured an E hill. So Rebel, the defensive squad.
Yeah, Rebel and defensive squad were in spot anyways. And gives up E basically for free. 2 and 4 stayed there forever. Crack and Demon, I thought were for sure going to be contesting that hill, but no, they're going to back up and go for F, the home hill of Pittsburgh Knights. This is a risky play, especially with PK set up. It's a lot of ground you have to cover with not a lot of coverage in general. Pittsburgh Knights might have an opportunity here. And speaking of which, that shock is going to be excellent, forcing Xploidz back.
Wow.
And maybe it wasn't worth it, Blaze, to give up E so easily.
I was going to say, like, real championship teams don't give up that E hill as easy as they did. You know, I was cutting them slack because if they rotate it in time, they take their numbers at F and they still have a 2-1 hill advantage. And that's the game of rotations, working smarter, not harder. But they got slowed down by the shot grenade.
Yep.
And, you know, they got shut down by the Retro Lancer, and PK has taken over this round just momentarily. Trip cap domination coming through for Rebel, but that's only momentarily as they clean up the kill at E. And now Rebel, they're going to hold off at F Taylor as PK. They're going to start getting ready for this next team fight. They'll be a 4-man unit. And they want to use their numbers now.
You know, the scary thing about Pittsburgh Knights in this spot is they haven't shown, good intensity in order to come back. That's been all to Rebel, right? Rebel's been the ones back against the wall, and then they find a way to win. Pittsburgh Knights, at least in this, the 5 maps that we've seen so far, now on map number 6, or round number 6, excuse me, we haven't seen Pittsburgh Knights really be at a disadvantage and then come back. So this would be nice to see them finally tie things up and get a little bit more confidence within themselves. And they're in a great spot to do so, Blaze, given the fact that they now have F and D, and they do have the win condition in 45 seconds. Stopping Rebel off this push, at least for D, would be imperative. They need to do so. Raver's holding his ground as he is on the opposite side, and that's going to be great for getting on E. Pittsburgh Knights still should have the advantage, even though Rebel does break through on their own home hill.
Big kill for Fearzly. He misses his blind fire over the cover, and the F hill will get decapped soon. Now, player 8 can't push through the top side of the map because that's through his opponent's spawn. It won't work out well for him, and it's a close game. The COG team wins off of 1. PK trying to force themselves into the hill for the capture. Oh, it's a double down and a neutralization. That was the worst thing that could have happened for the Knights in that situation. If one of them stay alive, you get the kill cleanup, the revive, the double cap. You're in a better spot for the late game. In the end, it is Rebel who got off to a better start in this round, and they were able to hold on to it. So a 4-2 lead for them.
And that's 2 rounds, Blaze, they've been able to hold on from the very start to the very finish. Rebel, quite simply, is playing a better escalation here on Vasgar. And Pittsburgh Knights, despite that first half looking decent when it came to 2 or so rounds, they're really the only 2 rounds that they win, they've been outmatched. They really have been. Rebel, like I said, start to finish on a couple of rounds have been there's no competition there from Pittsburgh Knights. And then also Rebel's ability back against the wall to be able to come out and take the victory where it looked like they wouldn't be able to to do so. Now, Pittsburgh Knights, they're in a tricky situation with, Rebel being on map point, an opportunity to take a 2-1 lead. They've got to make something happen, and that something to happen is the long shot on tank. We knew it was coming eventually. I thought it would be Rebel placing it, especially off of the first half with what we were seeing from PK, but no, PK's back against the wall now, and they've got to make some changes.
Retro Lancer through the smoke, gets the down, tags up the second player, 2 downs, both quickly revive, but the Lancer fire from Fearzly cleans up the kills, and it's a man advantage coming out for the Knights, making a 2-man advantage, soon to be, just a 2. They don't get the third. Now, there you go. They win the team fight. Kraken Xploidz is doing a great job holding their position there. It's going to be a home hill setup for PK. They lock in the D hill and the F hill. Actually, they don't get the F hill. Fearzly backs out.
Yep.
But the E hill will get picked up. So all PK got to do is defend against the push that's going to come in from his tank side of the map and wait for callouts to come through from Dezonide on how many players want to play that E hill.
Sniper's still down, Blaze, right? So that's still going to be fought for. This is the second initial, at least in terms not only of the objective, but also for the sniper. And Identivez did an excellent job killing Fearzly, but round number 2, when he's in that 2v1, Raver takes him down. Fearzly will pick up the snipe. And not to mention, Pittsburgh Knights lose the objective, but only for a sliver of time. They're going to be on the home hill of Rebel, and they should be able to lock that in play, forcing Rebel to make a move and figure out what their next line of attack is going to be.
This is the setup if you want of your PK. You have the power weapon spawn behind you. You got both of your utility spawns behind you. Your flank is covered. Your spawn is by your flank. Like, this is one of the perfect setups. And when your opponent tries to decap F, they're going to have to stand in the open. So PK in a great position, but we'll see how long they can hold because they get their teammate caught out on the other side of the map. So he didn't see himself getting pinched. That forced PK to have to move forward, put this map off balance, fight for some kills. Those are some great shots with the sniper. He gets the body shot, finally gets the down, and that's what Fearzly is looking for in that moment. Just get one down, make it a clear man advantage for my team so we can kind of get on the same page and clean up the kills. And so they do that, but it's still a lot more work that needs to get done for PK because they had to push through the spot and make a K out of it. Now they got to get back and get their home hill, then maybe even rotate the map again back to F because that new sniper is going to be up as well.
And that's a great kill Fearzly gets on Xploidz. You know, if you're looking at that, you're thinking, well, that doesn't really provide an impact, but it does because that goes from a 2v2 fight to a 2v1 fight. Demon can't confidently push because Xploidz should have been by his side, but because he was finished off, well, hey, Demon now kind of has to pump the brakes a little bit, at least up until now, because Demon does have help. Crack will eventually join him. Good body shot. Demon down, snub out, but Demon gets picked back up, and you got to give credit where credit is due to Crack to feel confident to even get there, to get that assistance to pick Demon back into play. But I love that Pittsburgh Knights are not fighting up. The damage is there. The damage is there, right, Blaze? They're not closing the gap. They're keeping a distance. That is control through and through.
And there's PK on top of the E hill. Crack still alive. He finally goes down. And Identivez gets taken out as well. So PK, they stay alive in this series. Stay alive in this map. We'll see if they can return the favor to Rebel for that 3-round comeback that we just saw in execution in map number 2. Look at Xploidz, 15 assists.
You know, Xploidz fashion, right? Just doing everything that he can.
I will say I'm probably one of the only casters in esports who, when I see the scoreboard, I go immediately to assists. Like, my God, 20 assists, double digits. I don't care about the kills because like, if you got that, like 25 assists, Monkyz 27,
Look at Fearzly.
10, 10, and 27. Like, that's what Fearzly and Monkyz do together.
Right.
That's what you get when you have both of them on your team. Fight should be easy for Raver and Dezonide because they always got some Lancer fire coming in from somewhere. Lancer or pistol.
And Blaze, I'll give you credit, man. As long as we've been casting together, you're right, man. You really have always harped on damage done and assist. You know, that's kind of always been your narrative.
People in the fight. I like their fast decision making. You go from one target to the next to the next. And the assist show me that you have your crosshair in the right area at the right time for your team to be successful.
Excellent said. Excellently said. You notice, though, Rebel did block out the shock from Pittsburgh Knights. That shock that is currently on the sniper is Rebel. But look at the flank from Raver, though, and this could make all the difference in the world. Gets it down, gets a finish. We'll get the finish on Identivez, and we're not pumping the brakes here. No, sir, we're pushing up. Rebel, we're off to an electrifying start, being on all three hills, but that flank from Raver put Pittsburgh Knights in the driver's seat.
Man, that flank was huge. So the home hill setup will come through for the Knights. They're going to give up D. They don't want to deal with these players just yet. They know that they got their teammates behind them with the long shot, and they can get some help from them. But this is a 2v2 fight on the D hill. Dezonide gets a headshot. Raver gets a kill. Quickly revived. Identivez sandwiched. But can Demon go huge? He will. Winning a big 1v1 fight on top of the home hill. Taylor, he's able to get a decapped and back up.
Hey, whether it's Identivez, whether it's Demon, you got to appreciate Rebel's ability in those 1v spots consistently here on Vasgar to be won by them. And that's kind of been saving them and keeping them super competitive. If Demon doesn't win that fight, PK, they've got the 2-1. But because Demon wins that fight, naturally, Rebel still has the point lead despite the theatrics from Pittsburgh Knights multiple times. Theatrics obviously being that flank from Raver. So Rebel objectively and individually are playing so incredibly well on map number 3, Vasgar. And Demon continues to get value out of his life. Even up till then, he doesn't get the kill, but he gets enough damage on Fearzly for Identivez to confidently push up, and the domination's coming through. Is this going to be it? Looks like a 5-3 victory, and there it is officially, a 5-3 victory. Rebel will take a 2-1 lead in the series. Excellent job.
Yeah, Rebel did a good job landing on their feet in that last round, and they come out with the victory, and you see Monkyz like, man, MVP again for the L? What else I gotta do? Okay, him and Fearzly both dropped 28 assists. They had damage all throughout the map. You know, PK, you know, you look at their damage, they completely, they put out more than Rebel, but they still lose, and that's escalation for you. It's about playing fast, being smart, and Rebel were decisive on a lot of those rounds in which they won.
Yes.
And how they won them, okay? They didn't need to, you know, get into 1,001 fights to get control. Once they got control, they kept it, and they played for the domination, or they comfortably won off time.
Because Rebel hadn't played Vasgar in Split 2, I had, you know, not concerns, but I had a lot of questions. How is Rebel going to look with this new roster with Xploidz? Are they going to be just as strong as they used to be? Well, they were stronger than ever, in my opinion, and that's great to see. Rebel hasn't necessarily been the strongest escalation team historically, but that right there, that performance was truly incredible. And the way that they did it, it's one thing to go tit for tat, right, and see Rebel and PK go down 250, 249 and things like that. But no, Rebel showed great control and also great prowess when it came down to the 1v spots. Again, I highlight Demon and Identivez Blaze. They held their own so many times and gave so much value to Rebel as a whole.
Yeah, they did. They did. You know, when it comes down to both of them, you can count them to make some annoying plays happen on the map. Win a big 1v1, decap a heal, rotate to their teammate, and take a man advantage elsewhere. Things like that. And so they're constantly keeping their team in a lot of those rounds. And if your teammates with them, you're definitely happy, okay? You can appreciate them a lot, you know, even if you're fans of them. So Rebel fans definitely happy. They got a 2-1 lead in this series. I gotta say, I wasn't expecting Rebel to win Execution Escalation, you guys. You know, this series definitely flipped over. But Rebel has shown to keep it. You know what, guys? We will beat you on what you feel like is your best game mode. And then we're about to go over towards Speyer control. That was actually one of the maps that I gave Rebel. You know, so they can. I think they can close the series out in a 3-1 fashion. I'm actually favoring them on Canals as well. So this is currently Rebel's series to lose, and they need to show us they can close this out.
You know, there's 3 teams currently in Pro League that are sitting at a record of 4-1, and Rebel isn't one of them. They're currently 3-1. Getting this victory would not only give Pittsburgh Knights their first loss in Pro League, but also would shift the powers when it came down to, you know, the middle of the pack, or not even the middle, really, top 6 in general. That's where Rebel currently sits, and rightly so. This could be a big win for them to start separating themselves from the pack and being that much closer to potentially maybe even getting first place in Pro League Blaze. That could be an absolute reality for Rebel if they get this victory being 4-1. So, and who knows, you know, well, obviously if PK loses this, then they'll be 4-1 themselves. So we'll have 4 or 5 teams who are 4-1.
Yeah.
It's a lot of power shifting.
It is a lot of power shifting with Rebel coming away with this victory. And shout out to the person who has to do the standings, okay? And do the head-to-head tiebreakers there, because it's going to be a few of them. It's going to be a few of them.
It's true. I don't do this. I do this. I do the stats or whatever for the, for the behind the scenes, but the standings, that's done by our talented production team. And I'm not envious. I was actually there last night watching them do it, and it was math I can't even comprehend, bro. I was like, yo, I'm so glad they're doing that and not me, man. I'm good for plugging in.
I think you got the harder job, Taylor. Don't worry about it. I think the stats is the harder one. Well, especially when players leave games, okay?
Yo, and that's a real talking point, my guy. When they leave games, okay?
Hey, rage quit for the L.
And Team Queso F and I did that earlier. I think more so F and I. They lose 5-0 and they just exited out before that sweet scoreboard popped up at the. That's all I needed. Just a half a second. Not even a half a second. Just that scoreboard to pop up. But no, instead, I got to go to
Taylor.
I got to go to map 4. Or round 4, and then I got to calculate, be a statistician, and add up everything after that. I got it done, mind you, because I'll figure it out. Stop.
Yeah, but you didn't want to. I know it was so hard.
And stop.
It was so hard. We could just blame the players. Blame the players.
Well, I mean, like, who else am I going to blame? I'm not the one controlling the lobbies. Hey, I'm saying, I'm going to find out the stats anyways. You rage quitting and leaving early isn't going to make your stats any less or any more. All right, they're going to stay the same. Just please make my life a little bit easier. Please. Okay, that's all I got to say. We're moving into Speyer. You're bringing up some bad memories there, man.
Yeah, you had to get it off your chest, man. I know. Okay. I'm happy you got the mic for that one, and you let them know, because I know that can be annoying during that math.
Well, first it was Colin, who was letting him know not to rage. Remember when Colin would Colin would get angry with
memoirs,
people rage
just
quit,
letting people know, like, hey, this ain't it.
But now I got to carry the torch. But hey, we're moving into map 4 Speyer. You benefited Rebel here. We talked about the early rotations, and those rotations truly what separates Rebel, I think, from the rest of the teams. Now, Pittsburgh Knights isn't bad on Speyer. Even historically with Chaos, they weren't bad on Speyer. I think it's going to be a lot closer than people are thinking, but this could very well be a 3-1 for Rebel. They after all, they have played it in Pro League. They played it earlier, I think, against let me just double check. Go to Rebel. They did play on Speyer, and they played it against Purified. 300 to 155 is where they took the victory. Demon was the outlier, 16-7 for his KDA. He had 17 assists. But that's a big thing assist-wise. Rebel, they've got them all on Speyer, and that's what makes them scary, because they shoot for each other.
Yeah, and when they're shooting for each other, that's when they're the most deadliest, because we know that they got the confidence to get into those 1v1 engagements and to play fast, but it just makes their lives a lot easier when they know that they got that support behind them, okay? So they don't have to earn a full 175 in every engagement. They don't have to put out a full 599 damage, whatever it's that number, who knows? But at the end of the day, when they're helping out each other, things go a lot smoother for this Rebel team. So we'll see the camaraderie going over into this next map. But if I will say this, if Monkyz and Fearzly pick off where they left off at supporting for Raver and Dezonide at the pace in which they did, 28 assists apiece between both of them. And with Speyer being an open map, it could be very hard for Rebel if they don't match their damage output.
And those assists are imperative. And those assists from, as you said, Monkyz and Fearzly are big. And the reason why, it was kind of tapered off on Escalation on Vasgar, because objectively Rebel was ahead of them. They just really were. They were at the right places at the right time. But you don't get that leeway on Control. If you're picking up that many assists, that means you're having an impact both in the hill
and out of the hill. It's a lot of damage going out. That's the most important part. It's a lot of players being tagged up. And Rebel did win that last map with them having the least amount of damage. All right. Yeah. And so it just showed that they played smarter. That's great.
Sure.
I don't think the same story and outcome can happen on Control if we do see PK outbeat them on the damage again.
Yeah, because Control, again, it's more punishing. If you're getting that much assist, that much damage done, obviously that's happening in and out of the hill. You're just not going to live. You're not going to survive. So, and with this map being as severe and punishing as it is, I agree with you, Blaze. If we see those assists come out from Fearzly and Monkyz and just really the damage in general from the rest of the roster of PK, that's going to hurt Rebel quite a bit, regardless if they set up early or not. That's the reality of it. But that's still a big advantage that Rebel has.
Yeah, it's a big one. It is. So we'll see who's going to be more accurate off the start and can get in their positions and hit their rotations. So I'm excited to watch this one get played out. So far, we've had a great series. You know, it's kind of been flipped over on how I thought it may get broken down. And now, like we said before, Rebel, they're controlling their fate. It's their series to lose. They're either going to close it out now or they're going to move on over towards Canals and try to get it done there.
And you know, not to mention, this series could have very well been differently. You go back to Tomb Execution. If Monkyz doesn't team kill Raver, does that 2v2 go to way of Pittsburgh Knights? And if it does, well, they're not sweating as much at the moment because they're still up 2-1, guaranteed a map number 5. So if they do win Speyer, obviously their back is against the wall. They're the ones who have to force a game number 5. But again, things could have been a lot differently. But Rebel, they're on top of the world. They're feeling confident. And PK, I don't think they've been in this spot before in Pro League, right? In E-Days, we talked about E United beating them, but in Pro League, Pittsburgh Knights are accustomed to having, you know, the leg up. So this is an interesting. I think the only team to take them the distance to a map 5 was E United in Pro League. So not only E United in E-Days, but also in Pro League as well, Blaze. So PK, mentally, they got to get their head in the game if they want to win this.
Yeah, they got to get their head into the game. And, well, as we're loading into the game, you know, all 8 players, we'll see how focused they are, Taylor. Who wants it the most? Rebel, are they ready to close the series out now on Speyer? Or is PK going to force this game 5? Which I'm here for. You know, and we also got Pioneers and E United coming up next. You don't want to miss out on that series either.
Nope.
We're about to load into a good one.
I can't wait to talk about Pioneers and E United, man, because there's going to be a lot said. There's going to be a lot said about that series, and some good, some bad, especially for some of those rosters. And because look, you know, we've had a lot of time to watch Pioneers and E United, and now the fact that they're finally going to play against each other, that's the battle of NA, the battle of the Titans as far as I'm concerned. But map number 4, we're still here on the PK Rebel series, and Xploidz quickly moving through those steps and going down to challenge one of the Pittsburgh Knights members, but it's still Scrappy and Raver having the flank. I'm still not convinced who's going to have the edge here because they're both trading off left and right. Pittsburgh Knights are on the hill, but Rebel is slaying out outside of the hill, and they can easily move through. And with all that being said, all that bloodshed, it's still a 2v2.
Yeah, it is still a 2v2, but the drop shot being picked up by Rebel. They'll start rotating this one up towards the chapel. Hasn't been shot just yet. Rebel will get the nades also. They're doing a great job keeping PK at bay. And SPK actually kind of go towards the outskirts of the map. They're going to have the spawn side in which they won't, but it's a lot of time to fight for in this neutral hill. They got to go play up into this. You at minimum want your opponent to utilize the nades and a power weapon so you don't have to deal with it going into the next hill. But PK, they get more than that. They get them to utilize the power weapons, and they come away with a team wipe. And lastly, they get the spawns for next.
Get the spawns for next. That's one of the most critical things, especially about moving into hill number 2. You want the spawns for it because all these hills could be pretty devastating if you don't rotate a bit early on. Rebel, though, they're not far behind, and they're not going to have a lot of competition in mid. I do see player 3 and 4, Monkyz and Fearzly, who are getting the crosses, but Rebel does find a way to transfer through mid and be at the frontal force for the brute attack to go inside the hill. Speaking of which, it's actually going to be Rebel who currently get the first points. They are leading 31-24, still relatively close, but they have the man advantage on the hill itself, and they're going to utilize their numbers appropriately to bully out Raver as well as Monkyz.
Also, Fearzly using his brains to outmaneuver Xploidz. That was all positioning there, okay? Making sure he got in his position for his right hand, put out a few shots, and he forced Xploidz back on his own to the point where he was able to take over the fight. That way, he was able to make up for his teammate dying at that front door flank. Now, PK with a little pincer move. They have a little 1v1. Oh, Dezonide, that wasn't a 1v1. That was him being sneaky. He gets the kill, takes cover. 1v1, misses a good opportunity to put out a lot of damage. He doesn't miss it twice. He'll, in the end, he'll lose the fight. PK in the hill. Xploidz last left alive, and he's going to join his teammates in a respawn.
And Dezo got so much value for his life there. Not only did he pick up one player from Rebel, but he also discombobulated the numbers and also forced Rebel to reposition. And Pittsburgh Knights already had full men inside that hill. Therefore, just because Dezo was able to break up that fight a little bit more, giving the number advantage to PK inside the hill itself, it made all the difference in the world. But even so, Rebel still has that narrow lead by 6 points, and they are going to get at least a little bit of that scrap time, bringing them 52-45. The rotation position is in for the next hill. I'm looking at Xploidz and Crack currently inside the next one, and the only person who's looking to challenge is going to be Monkyz, but he does have a drop shot to his name. I'm curious if he held on to it.
We'll see. Monkyz is notorious for getting the most usage out of that one drop shot shell. Sometimes he'll have that on his back until the next one comes off respawn, and he uses that to kind of like be the puppet master, the sheep herder, the shepherd, just zoning out his opponents into positions in which he wants until he can take advantage of them, or set them up in a trap for his teammates to come in and get some of that love as well. PK doing a great job controlling this hill. They got the spawn locked down, and Raver's calling for a little bit more help so he can lead a hill and take over that chapel side. He wanted to at least try to play for that high ground. He's like, hey, come on. We don't want to give him no time, but I need to go because I need to be proactive about putting us in the best possible position. And he does, because even though the damage comes in at the front, he's able to shoot down. Dezo can't shoot. Stunned for eternity, but here's another flash in the corner. It's going to keep Rebel trapped for now. Soon they should be dead, Taylor, as they're getting taken shots from multiple different angles in the open. But those two PK players have brought time for the other members to come off the respawn and help them in a fight, but it wasn't enough time, as PK will get the rest of the time off that hill.
And Raver, in a way, got lucky in that spot. You mentioned, obviously, he was maybe communicating, look, we have to have that high ground and at least control Chapel. Obviously, we saw on the mini-map that Pittsburgh Knights was going to be forcing Rebel through the mid-battle, right? All four members from Rebel were pushing that, but because Raver rotated up and he didn't stay in that cut where we see Rebel members get stuck at, he was able to lance her out and then obviously kind of, triangulate and funnel the Rebel members who were instantly stuck as they pushed through. So that ended up working. Like I said, luck was on his side, but hey, the positioning, he's not going to disagree with it. We see second drop shot or third drop shot going to the way of Dezo, and he's going to manage to get away with it. Pittsburgh Knights were neck and neck with Rebel off the first three hills. Now they've taken a decent lead, and hey, they got a good foothold so far.
Yeah, they got a great foothold so far. That's a blunder of a nade. Takes down Crack. I don't know if his teammate was already down before, but once that dust is settled, it's going to be Rebel with a man advantage at the hill. That man advantage goes away as Monkyz gets a kill and a revive, but that's too cleaned up. Oh, not too cleaned up. Well, here comes Xploidz. Get some shots in on Raver. He's going to hold off till his teammates can get some angles as well. It's PK controlling the hill. They're doing a good job so far, Taylor. This is a big fight for Crack. He's going to win it, keep his team in a great position. Rebel, they got the pinch. The damage is there. Now they're angling out PK to take the hill. They just got to get in there, start getting some points. Monkyz is the last one left, but you see Rebel, they get it done.
Crack was so big in that fight. I know he gets jumped there.
I thought he was the last one left.
Through. Well, Fearzly's still there, You never know, man. You think you got everybody, and then there's that one straggler, which ended up being Fearzly. But Crack really did play that hill so very well. And I love that he took that 1v against Fearzly. He wins that, instantly turns, and manages to get it down on a player who was just off to the right, get into the hill and penetrate in. But a good recovery because, we see that last player, Fearzly, in the mix. Mind you, Fearzly was eliminated early on because he did challenge the chapel steps where Crack was currently at. So great job for Fearzly to come off that respawn and get value to at least contest and get a couple of kills to his name. We're looking at 139 to 74. We're rotating over towards next hill. Raver's got some company, 2 players in front.
Oh, he got a lot of company. He's doing a good job holding his ground. He gets it down, gets into that close quarter engagement, but you just saw Dezonide with the slide step into the kill. It's PK who still control the hill. They got the spawns locked in as well, and they also gonna have Raver as he comes off the respawn. He'll have that high ground controlled at the top of the chapel. Now Identivez has a drop shot to work with. Raver not looking both ways before he exits the chapel, and he gets taken out right away. So man advantage for Rebel, but this nade is in a good spot, Taylor.
Great spot.
Not gonna get no kills.
It'll separate them. It will at least funnel the members of Demon and Identivez forward straight into the Nasher of Dezo. So even though that nade doesn't connect, it still funnels the players and repositions them. Rebel gets absolutely destroyed in this hill, Blaze. Absolutely destroyed. And that was with Pittsburgh, or excuse me, Identivez picking up the drop shot. It still had no value. PK may have started off neck and neck with Rebel, but they haven't looked back since, I want to say, hill number 4, where they just started to take off and really exude themselves. Excellent job. Raver, wonderful stun, gets it down onto Identivez. Demon falls shortly. Crack, though, is there for revenge. And now you got Fearzly in a 1v2 squaring up. This is the fight for the next hill. Pittsburgh Knights has done a wonderful job eliminating Rebel early on. We talked about Rebel's ability, Blaze, to get onto the hill setup early, or at least earlier than the teams that they play against. But Pittsburgh Knights, to their credit, are doing an excellent job at getting there at the same time or a little bit before Rebel. And that has paid dividends in their ability to hit great shots early on and then funnel out Rebel when it matters most.
And you know, and I feel like PK, they have they have the it's more in their play style to kind of rotate earlier for those hills. You know, I expect them to stay on top of that a little bit more than Rebel. And it really kind of varies on who gets that early lead and who feels comfortable disengaging from certain fights more than others to get set up for their team. And in this moment, you got the Knights, the hill locked in for them. They're putting a lot of damage in on Rebel on the other side as well. Monkyz trades. Demon is going to pick up the drop shot. Identivez backs up, waiting for his teammates to group up with him, but they may just disengage from this hill entirely, set up for another. There's still 30 points remaining. I guess Rebel says, you know what? Let's get the nades, but they won't even get to the nades in time. Yeah, they give up all of that time on the hill. Okay, they're gonna
too much time.
Just have to play more perfect.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. You got to play more perfect. I mean, you put PK now at 239, Blaze. It's too much time to give up, in my honest opinion. The benefit is Pittsburgh Knights rotated off before they got above the 250 mark. Rebel maybe have been banking on that fact, but still tough. Nice shot from Demon. Wow, to take down Raver. Fearzly in a tough spot himself. Goes back up the steps, but that's going to be his undoing as he gets finished off. Rebel does commit for the early rotation on the chapel, and it might work and pay dividends. Obviously, they are currently up there despite them giving up the nades a little bit earlier, and Demon still has the drop shot. This is going to be a very difficult hill based on where Rebel is set up for Pittsburgh Knights to retake.
The drop will connect, and it makes it more difficult. Some shots in the side. Fearzly goes down. The player has to back up for the revive, which leaves the other player in a fight in a 3v1. And this keeps numbers in favor of Rebel, and that's an easy team fight for them. They made great usage of that drop shot. So Rebel starting to collect them some much needed time as we enter our second rotation of hills. PK, they got the spawn side in which Rebel wants. If Rebel can time this right, you know, if PK presses up, depending on when Rebel died, it could get the more favorable spawn, but you know, you don't want to play with fire like that. You know, I'm probably thinking too high level, but that's what I do. It's Rebel who's fighting the fight straight up. They back up away from these flashes. They allow PK up the stairs just a bit more, but the help isn't there. Now, this is what I'm talking about. You see how they're dying, right? PK wins the fight. Where does Rebel spawn? Right where they want.
Right there at the
right where they want. Okay.
Hey, analysis is on point, baby.
Too as well.
Analysis is on point. Set up
Only
well
one
from
player
Rebel.
got the spawn. But does the rest of the squad know that? He needs to stay alive. Here's the drop for the help. Oh, it's going to work out perfectly over the top.
Gets one, but isn't enough damage to take down Raver as well. This would make it an absolute benefit. The trade, both players crawling for the hill. It's actually Rebel who's getting the points. Finally, we do see Raver crawl in to keep it contested for the moment. Rebel still with the man advantage, plus player 7 being inside the hill. And actually, look at that. Identivez will get the pickup. Xploidz doesn't die off, in fact. He stays up in the fight. Rebel off of the back of Chapel Hill, now onto the second hill off of our fresh rotation, are coming roaring back. I mean, they are roaring back, and we question that early rotation, Blaze, giving potentially 30 points over to Pittsburgh Knights. Was it worth it? Well, at least it seems to be the case. Off that Chapel Hill, like I said, they've been looking unstoppable.
Yeah, they have in the second rotation. They've learned from the first. We'll see if they can keep it up. Some good shots. They got all 4 players in front. They know it's players reviving, so they're getting some great free shots in. Demon, Xploidz, they get 2. Identivez will down to 3rd, and Monkyz is on the other side of the map with his teammates respawning, trying to run towards the planetarium to get set up. they at least get the spawn side. That's a good first battle one for them, but they're still not on top of the hill. Rebel's cutting the gap, Taylor. Only down by a little bit. If Rebel wins this next fight, as we can see, they got a leg up.
Yep.
Isolate and Dezonide.
Yep.
They're going to be in a good spot to tie this game.
I think so. I do. They're one hill away from doing so. The pressure mounting up for Pittsburgh Knights. And this is kind of something we saw in the escalation just a little bit earlier on Vasgar. Rebel back against the wall. They didn't give up. Their composure was unreal. And whether they were just inches away or just points away from losing a round in escalation, somehow would manage to come back in a heroic fashion. And we're seeing much the same thing here on Speyer Control. And the momentum surely has shifted into Rebel's hands, forcing Pittsburgh Knights, in my opinion, this is a do or die retake. If they don't get this hill right here, right now, Rebel most likely is winning this control.
Now, PK, they got both power weapons. Still, the nade, well, I was gonna say they haven't used the nades, but I just heard a few of them get tossed out. No kills come through. Inactive in a drop. Is gonna go on the other side of the globe. Well, it goes around the world to the left. Picks up a kill.
Nice.
That's multiple on the board for PK. And they put the power weapons to good usage. I don't think they got anything left, Taylor, outside of the Lancers on their back of their map positioning. And that's really all they need with them knowing where to spawn, with knowing where the spawn is coming through.
There's enough time on this hill, Blaze, for them to win. Well, actually, there's not. Just barely not enough time. So there's going to be at least one more hill. But if Pittsburgh Knights bleed this hill dry, they should be at about 297, 298. Well done from Monkyz getting one kill, but eventually will drop. Pittsburgh Knights will hop off the hill at 286 to 234, giving a little bit more life towards Rebel. But Pittsburgh Knights did get that break. And as I said, I stand by it. If Rebel held on to that last hill, they would have won this control. There still is a chance, but Pittsburgh Knights now, they've got too much of a lead, but Rebel obviously have to play perfectly from this point forward. 22 points for Pittsburgh Knights to win, or 12 points, excuse me.
I think you might get what you want, Taylor.
What's
I think Rebel playing perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, they're on the next hill. They're doing it right.
Off the start, as Crack, he's going to be able to hold off the top stairs. He's got 3 of his teammates with him, Identivez and Xploidz. Down in the hill, Demon, he has a 1v2. He's trying his best to stay alive. He's in a position to get revived. Identivez doing a great job holding back these players, but with him hopping over, he's going to get caught in the crosshairs of Dezonide, and now PK picks up a lot of much-needed kills. Still 3 players alive, but not for long. Again, the Knights looking to force that game 5.
Yep, and they are, in fact, going to force that game number 5, 300 to 261. And I got to say, I'm ecstatic that we're going to game number 5, Blaze, because I think both of these teams really are just neck and neck, and they have been throughout all of Pro League. And just historically speaking, Pittsburgh Knights versus Rebel, this is a classic matchup organizational-wise, but it does come down to map number 5. It's going to be on Canals, and one you are not going to want to miss. Tons of damage done in the end, a lot closer than everybody was expecting. But this map 5 is going to be incredible. Like I said, map 5, Canals execution. Don't miss out. We'll be right back after this break. And welcome back to Gears Pro League Split 2, Day 6. I'm Taylor Reflections Noble, joined by Guy Blaze. We're heading to a map number 5 after an exciting Speyer control. Figured Rebel would be the favorites here. And at one point, you know what? They were neck and neck with Pittsburgh Knights, but it reached a certain point where PK just refused to give up, Blaze.
Yeah, they definitely did refuse to give up. PK is doing a great job just consistently outputting more damage than Rebel in key situations. And so that's what's been getting them the respawns throughout the night. But Rebel, they go big when they need to. They have these, big moments of greatness, and big reason in which they won the execution and escalation tonight.
Yeah.
So we'll see if Rebel being able to make the right play at the right time, heading on over towards Canals, is that gonna be able to work out for them and they take the round-based game mode tonight? Or if PK is gonna be able to put out that damage early on Rebel,
right,
and be able to keep control.
Well, we have Xploidz, who's going to be picking up the sniper. Who's the one on PK is going to have the sniper? Dezo. So who do you favor there?
Ooh.
Yeah, big ooh.
In a 1v1 sniper situation?
Well, not even 1v1, just impact off the start, right? Because you're guaranteed to get that sniper.
I favored Dezonide.
Really?
Yeah,
I would say Xploidz.
I favored a bet. I favored
walk me through that, though.
Because big reason is that it's Canals, and Canals is a lot of muscle memory too, as well, on certain key areas of the map to look for and where to get your 1v1s and where to find kills. And I think Dezonide is quick on his approach when he does that. Also, he's been 1v1 snipe battling, longer than Xploidz, I want to say. Xploidz is quick, he's fast. I will give him that. And so it's a close game, but I'm gonna lean towards the vet and Dezonide in the matchup.
So then let's talk about, front spawn's obviously going for that mid-bridge control. I'm looking at Demon, right? Demon is an incredibly powerful player. I'm sure he's going to be just fine getting to that mid-bridge position, but do you expect somebody to really challenge him and give him, a hard time?
It's got to be the front spawn Godfather and Raver. Actually, Raver may be more so in a up top lane, playing that 1v1, going towards connector. So he may be more into that fight, and we'll see Fearzly actually on the mid bridge to go up against Demon on the other end. And Fearzly, he plays that mid bridge really well.
Yeah, well, Fearzly does everything really well. In my honest opinion, that's really the reality of it. Oh, man, Canals. I gotta look. I gotta look and see if it's been played when it comes down to Pro League. So I know right now. For Rebel, it has not been played, and for
I think TK played at E-Days.
Played it for E-Days. Do you know who that was against?
It may have been against Rebel, actually.
Really?
Yeah, it may have been against Rebel.
Okay, I don't have. Hey, man,
semifinals, weekdays.
So then PK must have won. PK must have won because they made it to grand finals that week as well. So
they did.
Okay, so pretty scary to think about, But granted, a lesson learned potentially for Rebel if they did take that L on Canals. I know Colin's in chat. Colin, please let us know. What do you think about this match? Speaking of which, we all went Pittsburgh Knights, which sets us up for failure because Rebel, has nothing to lose at this point to prove us all wrong, and I know they want to. But just to kind of reiterate, Blaze, for everybody at chat and everybody at home, for Pittsburgh Knights, they are undefeated when it comes to Pro League. Their current record is 4-0. This would be their first loss in Pro League for Split 2. Obviously, if they win this, they will separate themselves from literally everybody at 5-0 record, which would be truly incredible. For Rebel, though, winning this would put them tied with, I think, at least 4 or 3 other teams. No, it'd be 4 because PK would be 4-1. Would be tied with 4-1 at a record, therefore coming into head-to-heads and map win percentage. So this is a big map, not only for PK, but also Rebel equally.
This really is an important series for him, Taylor, and I appreciate you resetting the stage for everybody. It's coming down to a Game 5 execution on Canals, and I love it.
Yes, sir.
As this Dezonide and Xploidz with the snipers, we got a mid-bridge battle between Demon and Fearzly. Monkyz in the connectors. He's going up against Crack in that matchup. This one's starting off slow. Everybody rotating towards these connectors. Monkyz trapped. He's trapped with 2 players in the corner. Great shot from Xploidz. Catches Dezonide in rotation. Now he's going to put his eye on the mid-bridge, looking for some body shots. Not going to be able to hit any, and these players get hawked. Both these kills come through. Actually, Demon got a kill off the revive. It was almost a 2v2. But as Demon got up, he got a chunk.
About to say, man, no shot Rebel loses that after that. Xploidz, again, you say Dezo. I'm going with Xploidz as the main impact here with the sniper. Round 1 was just a great shot. I've seen Xploidz do nasty things with that sniper, things that shouldn't be appropriate for stream on the Xbox channel. But yet, here we are, and Xploidz continues to do his thing. And that is the value Rebel really has with that man Xploidz. Going into round number 2, though, Pittsburgh Knights got to make a bit of an adjustment. I'm curious what it's going to be. I expect this round to be a lot quicker than round 1.
Oh, there's a lot of action happening in that water. Rebel connecting with the scope. Oh my God! Xploidz says, "Bro, come on. You can't get baited in the water like that for too long."
Oh, man. Monkyz, to his credit, though, is trying to stay alive. Catches Crack off the Mistral, doubles back. If he can kill Identivez, which took way too much damage, it would have been possible. Man, I thought we were going for a beatdown right there when Crack gets picked up from Identivez. I thought they were wanting the whole gang, all 3 of them, to just beat him down. But nope, business as usual. And Xploidz' snipers off the rip, Blaze, have just been everything.
Yeah, and he's showing me that I made the wrong decision in choosing who's gonna win this sniper head to head between him and Dezonide, because he's out positioning him in those 1v1s, but he's also having an impact in the initial team fight. He gets some damage to help his teammates, and then he looks for Dezonide positioning in a 1v1. He sees him. Ooh! Dave pierced his ear.
Yeah. Pick up some nice earrings after that one. Raver, watch out, buddy. Xploidz isn't backing down, no sir. And Dezo is the one that needs to keep him in check. When he took that shot on Raver just a little earlier, I think there was an opportunity for Dezo to maybe see the head of Xploidz. But hey, it is what it is. Now brought down to a 4v2, and Monkyz and Dezo got a lot of work cut out for them. Luckily, they are together.
At a certain point during every round of Canals, it becomes a battle of snipers. And sometimes one sniper just outperforms the other. Sometimes it ain't gonna be a 1v1 battle. It's just that if your opponent gets a headshot, you gotta find one too. And Xploidz is doing a great job. Like I said, he is keeping Dezo aware of him, but he's also moving around the map and helping out his teammates. I was clearly wrong. Xploidz is 1,000 times better than Dezonide in this map right now.
I mean,
Dezonide cannot keep up with him.
He can't. He really can't, but he needs to.
It is apples and oranges.
It is, but again, he needs to do something. He's got to take a shot on Xploidz. He has to. You've got to take him down.
You got to go 1v1.
You've got to shut down
man on man. You have to go man on man, or you just do a better job helping your teammates to stay alive. That's 2 down on the mid. Ooh, he dodged him. He moved in to help Identivez. Body shot to the shotty. That's it down. They stay alive. 2v2. Revive. It's another body, but Xploidz turns around. Oh, he's not running away, Taylor. He's about to check him up. Both of them. He's not giving up this position.
But you see Monkyz and Dezo do respect him. They back up. They did not want to be on that bridge.
Ooh.
Interesting. Yeah, to get that spacing. Watch out, though, from the flank. Monkyz going to be down low. Xploidz refuses to put away the sniper, and I thought he was going to hit that shot on Dezo. Body on the Monkyz, but he can't follow it up. What an effort from Xploidz, but finally, Pittsburgh Knights have put a round on the board.
Okay, PK, they get it done, but you see Xploidz' thought process there. He knew where to look. He knew where he was going to get his 3 peaks from, and every good sniper knows that you can't be afraid of a challenge, all right? Because it's never really a challenge when you know where he's going to peek from. Didn't get it done, but great effort there from Xploidz. PK, you could tell that they were holding their breath, as well as all the PK fans as well.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, because Xploidz being in a 1v2, it is not a guarantee that 2 is going to beat the 1, okay? Bottom line, period. Now, mid-bridge fight going well. Demon catches Fearzly off a misroll, but doesn't get him down, actually. Even though he hits a full spread, it's kind of surprising. Forces him to back up. So needed to hit that shot. Xploidz will hit his. Big body. First blood going to the way, and second going to the way of PK. But it is going to be a bit of a trade now. 2v2, making it a 2v1. Dezo by himself.
Oh, he's stunned. You know it. Goes for the quickie. And now he's connected on, and this Dezonide in a 1v2.
Yeah.
This is where he gets his this is where he can get his dominance back and force him to have to respect his scope.
Right.
He should know for a fact that Xploidz will challenge because he's on fire. That's the fight you want. You got to get him before Identivez come revving that bow.
Scary. Identivez is nasty with the torque bow. Xploidz obviously proved his value with the snipe. And Dezo's running right into Identivez. Right into Identivez. But the charge misses. And Dezo has an opportunity, maybe. Oh, he wanted to. He wanted to take that shot. Bit of a reset now.
He's looking for it. Oh, Xploidz is on a move. He's looking. He's thinking he's getting pushed. He's not, though. He's going to go check up towards mid-bridge. Identivez, a quick active, it misses, but Identivez backs up. Nades on the bridge. Ooh,
what a bold play.
This is more winnable.
Yeah,
but he did it with confidence. That's a great one, a short one. He backs up, shotty out. Tries to go for the blindy, but can't get it. That's where he needs a shotty in that situation, but I don't think he was expecting maybe Identivez to push as much as he did.
No, I don't think he was expecting. Well, I mean, honestly, I guess you have to expect that, right, Blaze? Because you throw the nades. Where's Identivez going to go? He can't go back because the nades is going to kill him. All he can do is go
goes to the yeah, nah. He either goes backwards but he threw the first nade to force him forward, but then the second nade was just it was still a little bit too deep.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, if he would have thrown it shorter, Identivez would have been dead there, even if he did push forward. Just that micro spacing, right? That's really what it came down to. Rebel looking unstoppable here. You called it best. If it goes to map 5, you got to favor Rebel here. And Blaze, it looks like you were right, but a big pickup from Identivez, but an even bigger drop in favor of PK, but they don't capitalize and get the finish.
They don't.
And where was Dezo for that?
Well, Dezonide was getting downs in the water. It was a 1v1 bridge-to-bridge snipe, but both players were kind of focused on that water fight and the torque boat pickup. Demon actually missed a headshot on Dezo. But with this one slowing down, it is going to be Rebel with both power weapons. So Identivez got a few bowls to play with. We got under 2 minutes on the clock to work with. And for the kills on mid-bridge, the nade still not picked up. It's scary if you get them too soon. You don't want to be a target for the snipers. But both snipers rotating, looking for something. Identivez with a bow on the ground. He gets Raver, well placed, but it's still 2 downs there. And they get cleaned up. PK, they get a much needed round. Well, they get closer to achieving that round. They still got to get through Xploidz, and maybe I'll open my mouth too soon.
Hold on now. If it's a 1v3 here with that, I mean, it's over. That's going to put Rebel at 5-1. There's no shot Xploidz wins this, surely. And he is pushing with the sniper in hand. Mind you, he still has a Nasher, guys, but he doesn't want the Nasher. He wants the sniper when he's making those bold pushes. But Pittsburgh Knights, they will win that and not allow Xploidz to do a 1v3.
He played it well, stunned the second guy on bridge, squared himself up for 1v1, and had no respect on the sniper, because if you get shot, you get shot. But you know, you can't let a sniper holding down a sideline deter you from making the best possible play in front of you. And if he hits that headshot on the back row, I think he gets the L trigger over the top of that cover, and he gets a 1v1 snipe off. So it was set up for him, almost executed. But we're talking fantasy now as we're into the next round.
Yep. Next round, Pittsburgh Knights clawing their way back. As long as they can keep Rebel in check and not get him a map point, series point, Pittsburgh Knights has a chance here. But Dezo, one thing is for certain, really needs to step it up with the snipers. Now, 1 kill, not the greatest, but 4 assists, okay, you give him some leeway there. But you look at Xploidz, it really is night and day, right? He has 6 kills to his name, and that's from him hitting headshots. That's how incredible he has been. So Dezo really lacking when it comes to the sniper department. Demon with nades, Fearzly pushing up, 1 thrown deep. Demon able to get away.
Oh, he lets his teammate, Fearzly so composed, not coming off the top of that cover. Dezonide taking down Identivez, good trade for him. And now Xploidz, body shot on Fearzly.
Okay.
Dezonide got some body shots of his own, so they're in a great spot. Comes down to a 1v3 for Xploidz, and PK starting to get back into this one.
1v1 sniper. I like it. Dezo, though, pulls out the Nasher. So does Xploidz. And it's going to be an old-fashioned 1v3, and Xploidz not going to be able to make anything happen. And that round was all, well, for the most part, Dezo hitting those shots. Again, snipers are there for a reason. We've seen what Xploidz can do with it. It's nice to see Dezo stepping it up and getting some value for his team with the sniper shots. Makes a big difference. It really does. And Pittsburgh Knights, again, keeping Rebel off of that map point, series point. It's 4-3, 1 round away from tying it up.
All right, so I think when it comes down to PK too, he's playing his position really well.
Sure.
Raver's a great partner for him as they have a lot of confidence on that mid bridge as they meet up at the same time. Monkyz supporting Fearzly in the top connector. Fearzly comes out to stun. He goes in for the second player, knowing that Demon was weak, but Monkyz behind them both. But Demon comes away with a clutch double kill. Ooh, great headshot from Dezonide. He puts himself in a 1v3. Identivez doesn't give him the time of day. Oh, but Dezo says, "You want this?" Oh!
Okay, missed shot.
He gets a 1v.
Okay. If he can bring it down to a 1v1. If he can bring it to a 1v1. Oh, he's going for it. Turns around, misses the shot on crack, but man, did he make that exciting plays, but it just wasn't enough, and Rebel puts themselves on map point, series point.
I give Rebel a lot of patience. Well, I give Rebel credit for their patience there because they did not give him any shot. They saw him looking for it. Dezonide had his crosshair well placed to have something lined up, and it was just a well-timed execution there from Rebel. If you say I'm in a 2v1 and you start pushing that fight too confidently, that's how you give up the clutch. But they respected him, as they should. But this could be our last round.
Could be.
Rebel pushing a connector. Demon gets on mid-bridge first. Here comes Monkyz and Fearzly, and Demon quickly gets out. Possibly may have saved his life. Did not want to be in the crosshairs of those snipers. The connectors is the safest place in which you want to be. But both snipers are going to be high side. Crack gets first blood for Rebel. Some body shots coming out from Dezo. Nothing that can be played off of, but they're going to try it. Dezonide with a great headshot. Ooh, almost another, but on the flip end, Xploidz for the Rebel fans. He has one lined up. They get him marked, and PK getting a call out to slow down. Crack, it's a deep nade. Forces a 1v1 fight, and the man advantage back in favor of Rebel. But can Crack do it again? He gets some help from Identivez. Identivez playing for the damage.
He's not dead here.
Play from Monkyz to get a double.
Wow.
But a 1v2 for Xploidz. Oh!
Oh, as we said, Blaze, it's never over till it's over with Xploidz on the map. What a play from Monkyz, though. I thought Monkyz was dead in that moment. Normally, when you see them making that push with the team revive, I mean, it's like, you're dead here. You're dead. But no, Monkyz timed it perfectly.
Check this out. What Monkyz did well is that he had the presence of mind to know that Identivez is going to go for the kill, go for damage first rather than a revive. And Monkyz played his distance well, but Xploidz. He gets away. It's a hit run.
Oh, no.
Imagine he does that.
Imagine, bro.
Imagine he steals the bag like that for the night. Imagine you win your series off a play like that.
Oh, and it's always possible with Xploidz, brother. Like, that's the scary thing. It is always possible with Xploidz. And mind you, that wouldn't be the first time Rebel has beat Pittsburgh Knights as an organization with his great sniper plays. You go all the way back to even just Jesus. And he barely missed that. Oh, he barely missed that shot on Monkyz. Barely missed that shot on Monkyz. But Pittsburgh Knights not out of the hot water just yet, brother. They still have one more round to win. And then they're tied up to force yet another round win in order to win the series.
Oh, okay. All right, little quick stalemate off the start. Okay, little something. Not no whole reset, but I think that last play made it clear of who's the best sniper in this lobby.
I mean,
and check this out. You got a lot of great snipers on one team.
Right.
They all still submitted to Xploidz.
Are you ready?
All right.
I think
all still submitted to him and say you can have it.
In my
That's how
opinion,
you know he got respect.
everybody's going to have their favorites, but in my opinion, Xploidz is the best sniper in the game. Like everybody's
he
gonna
is.
have
He is.
Some people are going to say Powers.
Must have been off that Pine Park when I said, who was better. Okay, sure, because it's clearly Xploidz today. And he gets a headshot on Dezo!
Oh my, it's over. Is it over? It has to be over. It's a 3v1. Raver last alive, ladies and gentlemen, and Raver is going to be down, and Pittsburgh Knights will suffer their first loss in the form of Rebel. In 3-2 fashion, Rebel gets the victory and better their record 4-1 to be tied with 4 other teams. And the beatdown now is warranted. Up until this point, it had been business as usual. No beatdowns, no flair, but now they can finally celebrate as they get the victory. Incredible performance from Rebel, and I gotta say, this series was all Rebel, man. They looked so good through and through.
Through and through from the start to finish. Rebel, they got it done today. They needed the execution and the escalation performance, and both of them came through for this victory. They work on their controls later, but shit, hey, they got it done. I think they're number 1 in the league at this point.
Yeah, number 1 in the league. Hold up now.
Best sniper in the game.
Hey. Now, hey, you know what? Now, see, that I can't even say that you're wrong or you're right. You know what I'm saying? Because there's just so much trade of power at this point, Blaze, that the major is just going to be insane. And there's not going to be, in my opinion, there's not a narrative the analyst desk can really like spin, about this is the best team outside of Pioneers, obviously looking to, replicate their success, keep the dynasty alive, right? But they already suffered a loss on E-Days, but that's E-Days. If they can win the major, still the dynasty is up for contention, obviously. But still, Blaze, like at this point, I don't know who the best is, but the best in this series was clearly Rebel. And they controlled this series. They really did. I was hugely, hugely impressive with their ability to play Vasgar as well as they did. With as many talented Vasgar teams as we have in the league currently, Blaze, that gives Rebel a huge leg up. Absolutely a huge leg up. The way that Xploidz owned this map on Canals with the sniper, I'm not picking Canals ever again against this team. I'm not. I'm not playing Rebel on Canals.
You should have, and like, Lord forbid your team gets 2 snipers, right? And Demon picks up one for Identivez, right? Like, Lord forbid that ever happens. But even with just the one on the map, Xploidz put out enough damage to create those openings for his team, and his speed is incredible. The way he reads the plays is incredible. He does a great job keeping the sniper aware of him, but also sneaking away to put in damage and help his teammates in their fight to keep them on top. He's putting out way more damage than his opponent, and it shows.
I was actually scrolling up and we were having a discussion about the best sniper. Clayton saying, "Hey, Powers is the best. Stop playing." Again, it's up for everybody's going to have their own opinion. But from what I have seen from Xploidz in my career,
I want to say.
But in my career of casting, Gears, at least for Gears 5, okay, Xploidz has made the biggest impact in my mind. But you have, like, Saisho can hit amazing shots, Powers can hit amazing shots, Dezo's had his moments to shine, but this map, Xploidz was just hard on. Like, no one could really...
Like, Sniper, like Powers will hit some flashy shots, and he'll beat some players off in 1v1s. But, sometimes, you got to... Well, I was just going... Does his ego prevent him from hitting those team shots? Those team body shots.
Who, Powers?
And getting away from those 1v1s. Yeah. And, regardless of the fact, he's talented, and I would love to see him and Xploidz go up against it. And go up against each other. And I think they will one day.
I
think they will. I think Rebel is going to be picking this Canals map a lot more.
Oh, you have to. If it's not auto bans, and that's one thing, again, like there are certain teams you can't play Harbor on. Rise is one of them. I'm not playing Rebel on Canals. I'm not. And the reason why is simply, Xploidz. Like that guy, you cannot give him a sniper on any map, but let alone Canals where he's guaranteed a sniper. It's just too much of an impact. But that's why I like Xploidz on this roster, I really do. And you go back to it, look, again, that team kill, Monkyz killing Raver in that round 11 Blaze. Pittsburgh Knights won Speyer. They would have won this series 3-1 if that team kill didn't come through. Granted, if the team kill doesn't come through, does the 2v2 still go in favor of Pittsburgh Knights and not Rebel? I don't know. But the team kill solidified it, and Rebel took that. So that series can kind of be boiled down to that one instant, that one moment. But make no mistake about it, Rebel was absolutely the better team in this series and really did impress me as a whole. Rebel is looking great, and I'm happy to see that because I didn't know what to expect from them here in this series, but I got a lot more than I expected, Blaze. I'm genuinely impressed.
I did as well because they beat PK using their own formula. And that was the round-based game modes. And so that was a wake-up call to PK to say, what the hell? How can we close out against them in the escalation, in the executions tonight? Right. And Rebel was just a leg up. They wanted it more, and they had players who stepped up and took over rounds and made big plays when they needed the most, and they didn't overthink it. So Rebel, they came out on top with heart.
Yeah, they did. Definitely did. And again, that puts them in an interesting spot. I can't wait to see standings at the end of the night. I'm sure Rebel is going to take a couple of leaps ahead. But hey, second series done with today, Blaze, and we've got one more banger still left to go. We just watched Latin America versus Latin America. Now it's time for North America versus North America. Of course, dyslexic on EU United, so we'll give a little bit of credit to Latin America. Pioneers versus EU.
Here we go.
You don't want to miss out on it. It's coming up next, right after this.